The sky blazed with fire and thunder amid mad cries of battle. In the darkness, Achang knelt bound, stunned by the slaughter, clueless of what happened. An ORC leader sentenced to death the offender of their sacred land, leading the horde shouting divine punishment. Achang bowed in despair, accepting death in a strange world. 5 hours earlier, at a junkyard, his uncle urged Achang to eat fast before work. He reminded him to stick close in the cave, or lose his share since many groups competed. Achang asked why even a C-rank cave was so contested. The uncle forced a smile, lamenting that Scavenging now had fierce competition. During their talk, someone reported Chiro's arrival, so the uncle left, telling Achang to clean up. At the cave entrance, an old man trembled despite it being C-rank, unable to imagine stronger ones. The wind carried faint voices, making everyone suspect someone inside. A group of heroes appeared too, with black and red hair, boasting confidently about rewards. The cleanup crew watched admiringly. The uncle wished for power, but the old man reminded them they had none. A worker tried to speak, but the red-haired girl coldly ordered them forward. The scavenger team entered after the heroes finished their mission. Achang, weak and unawakened, still dreamed of becoming a hero. The team leader explained the rules. 4 hours to scavenge, then split up. Achang found a broken armor shard and shouted excitedly. His uncle praised it as a treasure, like ancestral blessing. Achang wanted to go deeper, but was told 3.5 hours remained. He believed rarer items lay further inside. After over 3 hours, he grew disappointed, finding nothing but the old shard. When called to regroup, he reluctantly answered. He searched a bit more to earn money for his sick sister. Suddenly, he noticed something nearby, a forgotten ancient well. He guessed the well was abandoned and might hold treasure. He imagined getting enough fortune to pay his sister's hospital bills. At the bottom, he spotted a glowing golden ring. He tied a vine to descend, convinced it was a lost treasure. Holding the ring, he rejoiced, believing his life would change. Achang realized it was rare, tried it on, and planned to show his uncle. The ring tightened, fusing with his skin, causing unbearable pain. A strange voice declared the infinity ring had chosen its master and opened a portal. He panicked, heart pounding wildly. The ring shone blindingly, leaving him stunned. A strong force pulled him in. He screamed for help in despair. Achang vanished, leaving only shimmering light by the old well. Hearing noise, the uncle turned, calling Achang, but found him gone. The others reassured him, saying the weak Achang just overworked and could never be a hero. In a swirl of light, Achang awoke, his mind spinning. Opening his eyes, he found himself tied among other prisoners on an ORC altar. Amid thunder, he guessed he'd fallen into the well and been transported to the ORC's sacred land. From the throne, King Eros ordered the sacrificial ritual to begin. A giant orc proclaimed execution for 3 traitors, accusing the first of colluding with elves and humans. As dragged away, the prisoner was humiliated and cursed viciously. The crowd howled divine punishment, while Orcish soldiers forced him to kneel and shoved him to execution. General Fengya declared the divine hammer would purge sin, and none had ever survived. A violent bolt of lightning exploded, tearing the sky apart. The orc horde roared divine punishment, lost in frenzy. Liu Dao coldly named Achang the first human to trespass the sacred land as the next target. The Orcish dragged him onto the platform despite his desperate pleas about his waiting sister. His begging was met with a punch that doubled him over in pain. He clutched his stomach, gasping, telling himself he couldn't die here. Thinking of his sister and lost dreams, he painfully questioned his fate. Thrown down, he endured hatred and curses from the monsters. ORC soldiers shouted and shoved him into the fatal lightning stream. Tears fell as he screamed he couldn't die yet. With all his strength, he suddenly dodged the first lightning strike. The Orcish froze in disbelief. General Fengya was horrified, admitting no one had ever dodged divine punishment. King Eros watched closely, eyes deep and unreadable. Achang struggled up, shouting defiance at them all. Another lightning bolt struck, making him cry out in agony. Liu Dao smirked coldly, saying divine punishment never ends with one strike. The Orcish chanted loudly while the beast-eared girl sighed silently. Exhausted yet unfallen, the infinity ring suddenly glowed. A voice in his mind announced the divine system was activating body reconstruction. King Eros widened his eyes in shock at the phenomenon. Achang froze, then leapt up, life force surging fiercely. Liu Dao stammered in disbelief at his survival. Lightning struck repeatedly, his body shattered and instantly reformed. The system reported 15% progress, frightening the ORCs. The more lightning hit, the stronger he grew. At 40%, the Sky Eye skill emerged. In a trance, he heard a calling voice and moved toward the stone stairs. The ORCs noticed and shouted warnings that he was escaping. He kept climbing, skin burning and peeling off. At 60%, the system granted the triple divine sense and reappearance abilities. His blackened skin fell away, revealing a hardened body as progress reached 80%. General Fengya trembled in fear, saying none but the first God King ever touched the divine hammer. King Eros realized his true aim, his gaze turning icy. When the dark shell broke, his strong body shone. A Chang stood before the divine hammer, asking why it called his name. He gripped the hammer tightly as the system reached 100%, activating Child of Heaven. A Kyang roared, shattering all debris around him. Lightning rained down endlessly, but left him unharmed. The Orcish stood frozen, unable to believe what they saw. The divine hammer shrank to fit perfectly in his hand as if destined. He vowed to use this chosen power to rewrite fate. The system congratulated him on 3 extra levels, but sealed part of the divine power due to low ability. The beast-eared girl was shocked that a human could wield Orcish's divine weapon. Liu Dao went mad, refusing to accept another holding his race's treasure. Even King Oros had failed to lift it, making Liu Dao doubt the prophecy. A status board appeared. Class undefined, skills sky-eye, triple divine sense, absolute reappearance, weapon divine hammer, combat power undetermined. Feeling energy surging, he looked at the data and saw he'd reached level 3. Studying closely, he confirmed it was a god-granted system. Suddenly, a shadow dived from above, causing a violent impact. It was Liu Dao, eyes blazing with hatred, shouting to reclaim Orcish's hammer. The Orcish cheered, hailing the legendary warlord Liao Ya to regain glory. From above, Liu Dao roared, accusing him of stealing the divine weapon through trickery. He ordered a Chang to surrender the hammer and accept clan punishment. At that moment, the Sky Eye skill activated, granting access to the opponent's data. A Kyang saw Liu Dao level 84, Orci warrior, weapon grade A. He realized it was the divine system's power to see through enemies. Seething at a king's calm, Liu Dao called him a vile human and declared battle. He raised his blade close, threatening to kill him on the spot. Sweating heavily, a Chiang tried to stay calm, begging to explain while fearing the level 84 power. He knew as a normal man, fighting meant certain death. Liu Dao ignored him, slashing hard, forcing a Chiang to block with the divine hammer and shout for peace. The beast-eared girl below trembled, knowing one strike from Fangya could cleave the weak in 2. Tension thickened as Liu Dao unleashed Impact Blade Slash, while a Chiang swung the hammer to meet it. A thunderous blast rang out. A Chang still stood. Shocked, he blocked it, though his hands burned. Liu Dao was stunned, thinking only the hammer's power could have stopped him. He sneered it was divine power, not human strength, and threatened to behead him next. A Chiang grew furious, shouting it was a misunderstanding, he wasn't from this world. Liu Dao dismissed his words and lunged to grab his collar. He stepped back to gain momentum, preparing to hurl a Chiang upward. He planned to throw him high, then strike the finishing blow. At that instant, the system activated absolute reappearance, allowing him to copy one ability from the opponent's heart, storing only one at a time. A Chiang was stunned by the sudden copy skill. He decided he must touch Liu Dao's chest to trigger it. To Fangya's astonishment, he charged and pierced Liu Dao's armor. But his hand accidentally touched the man's sensitive spot. A Chiang fell while Liu Dao blushed in humiliation. As he fell, a Chiang saw Liu Dao's full skill list displayed by the Sky Eye. He hesitated, unsure which ability to copy. Liu Dao turned embarrassment to rage, calling him a pervert and launching Heaven's Wrath. In panic, a Chiang read the move info Heaven and Earth Rupture. 360-second cooldown, incomplete conditions. Trusting the hammer's strength, he copied that skill, shouting he wouldn't die here. The Orcish froze, Liu Dao stunned as his own move was mirrored. A Chiang swung the hammer, casting Heaven and Earth Rupture, shaking the entire plaza. When the smoke cleared, Liu Dao still stood, staring blankly at him. He claimed he was unhurt, even felt fine. Landing, a Chiang received notice the move failed due to low level and no class, making him grin awkwardly. Fangya, enraged, attacked, calling him a clown defiling the sacred altar. A powerful figure descended, ordering everyone to stop. The Orcish erupted, recognizing King Oros the one to decide a Chiang's fate. But instead of attacking, King Oros knelt before him. The act stunned the tribe, their cries rising in disbelief. King Oros gazed into his eyes, declaring he was chosen by the divine hammer. He placed a hand on his shoulder, saying it was heaven's will. For 1,000 years, only he had been acknowledged by the divine weapon. He proclaimed before all that A Chiang would be the future successor. The Orcish murmured about the prophecy, he who lifts the hammer shall lead, doubting because he was human. Liu Dao fiercely objected, refusing to grant power to an outsider. King Oros questioned him, rejecting such prejudice. He affirmed the prophecy never limited race, and even the king himself couldn't lift the hammer. Fangya realized his slip, bowed, yet insisted a Chiang wasn't an Orci. King Oros ignored it and asked a Chiang for his true name. After hearing, he offered a Chiang a year to train and return to prove his worth. Then they would decide if he was fit to lead. If he betrayed them, a spirit seal would guide the clan to hunt him, said the king as he marked his forehead. Still confused, a Chiang heard someone calling from below. The beast-eared girl advised him to accept for freedom and greater strength. He looked at her, remembering she too had been a sacrificial prisoner. Using Sky Eye, he saw she was a level 72 warrior, much of her data hidden. He wondered why someone so strong was punished. He raised a hand in thanks for her advice. Those words made him realize this was his chance to live and find a way home. Chang agreed to stay a year but made one condition. King Oros curiously asked what he wanted. He pointed to the beast-eared girl, asking for her as his aid. She looked startled and asked him again in confusion. He explained it was his way of repaying her help. They left the altar, stepping into the cold corridor. Leaning on the rock wall, Chang recalled everything since wearing the infinity ring. The voice in his head had said the ring couldn't be removed and granted power, yet the way home remained unknown. As he pondered, the beast-eared girl softly said preparations were done. She appeared in new attire, bowed, calling him master and pledging lifelong loyalty. Chang froze, flustered by her cuteness in that address. He tried to stay calm, saying they should work as teammates. She blushed, holding his hand, saying this day was special to her. She confessed he was the only one who ever protected her and wished to keep calling him master. She saw him as a miracle and was ready to give everything. Chang panicked, nearly nosebleeding, but reluctantly nodded yes. She joyfully agreed, urging him to move on before nightfall. Walking beside him, she kept warning him to watch his step. Under the moonlight, Chang felt this world was both strange and poetic, but he quickly remembered his sister waiting at home, heart tightening. Suddenly, the system announced the infinity ring could open a gate after 24 hours of recharge. He was startled, realizing he could return on his own. Without hesitation, he ordered activation, and the ring shone brightly. A powerful pull dragged him in as he rejoiced, thinking he was finally going home. The beast-eared girl, confused, asked why he still stood still. In truth, he was already drawn into the spatial gate, body twisting painfully like before. He fell to the familiar well's bottom, relieved to be back in reality. Activating Sky Eye, he was thrilled all his skills remained intact. The status showed level 3, no class, unclear weapon. He wondered about the divine hammer's fate. The system explained only items stored within the triple divine sense could move between worlds. He realized his level would sync across worlds, and the hammer now rested in his divine sense. From the well's mouth, his uncle called for him to hurry out before the cave closed. Chang was shocked, thinking he'd been gone far longer. He noticed hours had passed in the other world, yet time here had barely moved. His uncle said they'd just checked below and urged him to come out quickly. While climbing the rope, he thought time in reality must have paused. He concluded that when in the other world, real time froze and resumed only upon return. That made him curious about the Infinity Ring's first owner. Exiting the well, he turned to ask his uncle something. He confirmed that tomorrow marked the start of new hero exam rules. Scene shifted to heavy rain as Chang carried his sister Xiaohan through the ruins. A giant demon was wreaking havoc ahead of them. Xiaohan weakly said her legs were numb and asked about their parents. Chang froze, shouting desperately for his parents. The demon advanced while he stood motionless in the rain. Li Shu appeared, pulling him up and urging him to run. He told him to save his sister first or both would die, think of those still alive. Chang cried that their parents were trapped in the house behind. Despite the danger, Li Shu dragged them away, telling him to support Xiaohan's leg firmly. In the hospital, Xiaohan weakly asked about the hero exam, worried her brother was exhausted. The nurse gently praised her thoughtfulness and advised Chang to rest too. Chang reassured her he was fine, then asked about her leg pain. The nurse explained it was nerve damage requiring timely treatment. The girl hid her pain behind a smile. Chang bowed sadly, realizing she might lose the ability to walk. Using Sky Eye, he saw her legs nearly paralyzed, only 1% chance of recovery. On the way home, he remembered her simple dream to study and walk like others. Recalling her cheerful smile, he felt guilt as her sole caretaker. He vowed to find a cure no matter how slim the chance, believing hero power would make it possible. Under the moonlight, Chang raised his fist, vowing to become the strongest hero. At the BTG test site, staff reported he was level 3 with 540 combat power. They congratulated him and issued a ranked hero certificate. Next to him, another candidate rejoiced as his mother encouraged him. As they left, staff reminded Chang this was his retake after a previous failure. The bespectacled worker sneered, rushing him to finish so they could leave. Chang retorted sharply, saying they'd soon see who wasted time. The man scoffed, saying results relied on scientific stats, no cheating possible. Once the door shut, he muttered that Chang was the dumbest guy he'd met. In the bright room, Chang recalled that combat power measured true potential. That man was mediocre. He believed he met hero standards, but still worried since he hadn't fought yet. Placing his hand on the device, he unleashed all his energy. Red light erupted, shaking the entire room violently. The system instructed him to hold position during measurement. Outside, staff thought it was an earthquake and screamed. When the tremors ceased, the screen showed level 3 combat power 5400. The number shattered a 30-year record, far above the second highest at 930. Chang was stunned that he was 10 times stronger than others. He felt elated, convinced he was on the path to becoming the ultimate hero. Curious, he pondered the true power of the divine hammer. The system warned he lacked energy and could wield it only for 1 second. When the hammer appeared then vanished, he wondered if that moment was enough for data reading. Despite concern, he tried placing his hand on the machine again. The system confirmed activation of the divine hammer within a 1-second limit. Instantly, he felt his life force being violently drained. The weapon kept draining his energy as he trembled, begging the machine to show results. Purple light shot into the sky, the ground quaking and panicking the citizens. The device exploded, displaying measurement limit exceeded. The entire city lost power in an instant. The bespectacled worker rushed in, claiming an earthquake caused the outage and urging him out. He froze upon seeing Chang gaunt like a dried corpse, trembling as he asked who he was. Leaving, Chang blamed himself for recklessness, realizing the hammer's power could kill an unready wielder in 1 second. In the hall, a silver-haired man introduced himself as Kai Ya Level 9 Hero, Combat Power 1200. Chang secretly checked with Sky Eye. After introductions, the class greeted teacher Kai Ya in unison. Chang compared and realized his combat power far surpassed the man's even at level 3, imagining his growth potential. Kai Ya complained about being forced to teach interns, grumbling the low reward and preferring low-tier monster hunts. He suddenly announced a field trip tomorrow to a D-rank cave for class selection and gear hunt, shocking everyone. A brown-haired student questioned skipping physical training. The bespectacled man doubted early class choice. Kai Ya coldly said, "There's no time those who can endure stay. The weak may leave, the class had to obey." Chang guessed he was venting anger, thinking heroes were still human, yet resolved to prove his own strength. In his mind flashed the image of the beast-eared girl, his lips curling slightly. With the infinity ring nearly recharged, he planned a major move with the level 72 warrior. That night, the news reported the blackout was from a quake, not dark demons. Chang ignored it, focusing on the ring. He activated the gateway, bright light flaring up. When he opened his eyes, he was back in the other world, everything unchanged. He realized time and states between worlds were entirely separate and unaffected. The beast-eared girl's voice startled him. He quickly denied scheming anything. He suggested starting training by hunting weak monsters and asked her to guide him. She eagerly agreed, praising his spirit and saying she had the best plan ready. She reported finding a nearby level 3 goblin nest, warning they were cunning and lustful. Chang teased that she was the one who should be careful. He was amazed the low-level monsters looked exactly like storybook goblins and excitedly declared he'd claim their den. They hid and watched. She told him to stay quiet as 2 goblin guards slept, and he wondered why she didn't strike first despite her power. Using Sky Eye, he confirmed she was a level 72 warrior with 630,000 combat power, making her gasp and ask how he knew. Chang dodged the question, saying he wanted to see her fight in action. She explained that if they fought together, he'd gain no experience due to the vast level gap. He was surprised but insisted on watching. She blushed but agreed to demonstrate for his learning. Then she drew her sword and used shield form no strike. Her blade cut through the goblins with flawless precision and speed. Chang applauded, amazed by the strength of a level 72 warrior. She turned with sparkling eyes, speaking shyly. She reminded him to always fight seriously, even against weak foes. As this was his first lesson, he thanked her and asked to learn the move. She shook her head, saying that technique was high tier and he lacked the class requirement. Chiang instantly decided to choose the warrior class, planning to use absolute reappearance to copy the skill and temporarily store the divine hammer. The system confirmed his choice warrior class, combat power 54, weapon, divine hammer. The beast-eared girl held his hand emotionally, promising he'd be proud of this path. She vowed to help him find warrior gear and level up together. Chang felt touched, sensing warmth in this strange world. He laughed, deciding it was time for real action. The goblin spotted the intruder, screaming alarms, forcing him to strike. He borrowed her short sword. The system showed silver sword equipped. She warned it was dangerous to face monsters of equal level. Before she finished, he charged forward, determined to try a stronger move after past failures. His explosive strike obliterated the goblins in seconds. The beast-eared girl was stunned that a level 3 defeated equal foes once requiring a team. After victory, Chang eagerly decided to raid the goblin nest. He cleared the corpses and she suggested salvaging dropped weapons. Chang picked up a wooden club. The system displayed info and it fit perfectly in hand. She reminded him to find armor quickly for defense. Chiang realized his janitor outfit couldn't block any blows. On the way, he checked his divine sense pouch that held 2 items. He found this backpack-like system novel and interesting. Items inside could be used across both worlds, extremely convenient. He opened his skill board and saw he still lacked defensive gear. 1 slot was occupied, leaving 1 free. He needed training to unlock more. He worried about the limited space, recalling the 5-piece standard equipment set. Looking at the girl, he imagined each armor part, making her curious. Distracted, he admitted to himself she was truly charming.
He quickly covered it up, saying he was checking if she could keep up.
She grew alert, instantly drawing her sword at sensed danger behind. He was still dazed, lost in thought. Turning around, he saw 3 level 4 goblins rushing in. She stepped forward, warning him to stop, but he insisted on fighting for experience. He told her not to assist so he could earn points, and the goblins lunged. A Chang roared and swung his club to counterattack. He swiftly killed the 3 goblins in a row. He realized stronger monsters gave more XP, but wore out weapons fast. She was amazed he fought above his level, calling it a rare gift. The deeper they went, the more monsters appeared, yet he dominated, reaching 363,000 XP. Within minutes, his XP soared to 1,233,000. The beast-eared girl joyfully praised him. A Chang complained about poor quality clubs, having replaced 6 already. He kept slaying monsters, thrilled by his rapid progress. He recalled the real world, where leveling up was hard due to resource competition. A Chang felt satisfied that here he could freely gain rewards and XP. The system showed progress, 2,193,000. He decided to stay in the other world to grind levels, resting with her behind a boulder. He peeked out and spotted a giant monster, surely the goblin boss. The beast-eared girl, alarmed, said the boss was possessed by a dark demon, shocking him. Memories of the beast that killed his parents flooded back, leaving him shaken. He suspected it was the same kind. Hands trembling as she warned the level 6 boss had been fully enhanced. She said the dark demon was immensely powerful and begged to handle it for him. A king refused, determined to end the foe himself. He swore vengeance for his slain parents. Without hesitation, he charged forward as she failed to stop him in time. The boss turned, eyes blazing red with fury. A Kang roared a curse, declaring he would destroy the one that ruined his family. Before he could counterattack, he was knocked far away by the boss's claw. Holding his chest in pain, he gritted his teeth in anger. The boss roared and charged to finish him off. The girl rushed in, slashing the boss's tongue and saving him from a fatal blow. A Kwang struggled to stand, vowing not to yield while revenge remained. His inner power burst out violently even though he was unarmed. The system warned that channeling energy into his right arm was extremely dangerous. He roared, declaring his body was the real weapon. He launched a powerful punch at the boss possessed by darkness. The giant monster collapsed. He glared at its corpse with hatred, swearing to erase all demons. The system announced he reached level 4, gained 1,000 EXP, progress 6,000. The girl panicked when she saw his arm torn open. The system warned of severe injury and urged immediate treatment to prevent necrosis. He gasped, admitting he had gone too far. The system explained that focusing power into one arm overwhelmed his body. His vision blurred, body staggered, and he collapsed as she shouted his name. She lifted him, hearing his groans from the pain in his right arm. She calmed him and took medicine from her bag to treat him. 2 hours later, he awoke, surprised at how fast the medicine worked. He noted it wasn't as strong as real-world boosters, but more stable due to its ancient formula. The girl rejoiced at his recovery. He even said his body felt stronger than before. She suggested they go claim the mission reward. He excitedly ordered the system to announce it. The system said the reward increased from 1 item to a full set for breaking the boss record. Since the boss was a special demon, the reward became the Dark Goblin demon set. While he checked, she found a basic treasure chest, making him happy for rare loot. He recalled only seeing fragments in the old world and grew fonder of this realm. Opening the chest, he received the full Dark Goblin demon set, but he closed it because his spiritual bag had only 1 slot left. The system asked if he wanted to store the whole set with just 1 slot remaining. A Kwang confirmed, wondering if it would fit entirely. The system reported successful storage, retrievable any time. He joyfully thought he could bring it back to the real world, prompting her curiosity. He said he'd stored it and asked if she could sew. She replied she'd done it since childhood. They sat together in the peaceful meadow. She focused on sewing a black shirt, then handed it to him to check. He praised the shirt for its fit and look. She was delighted by the compliment. A Kwang thought he was stronger now and ready to return to the real world. He suggested resting and she agreed. Afterward, a Kwang returned to the real world through the portal. Seeing his familiar bed, he collapsed onto it, relieved as the gate closed. He recalled finding shelter with her before leaving, waiting for her to sleep before activating the gate. He lay thinking he couldn't let his otherworld training stall, but needed rest for tomorrow's meeting. In the morning, the system asked if he wanted to equip the Goblin Demon set. He agreed. The system described its skills, a stunning roar and a tentacle arm for deadly strikes. He was thrilled that the set had unique abilities. Then he hesitated, fearing attention if worn outside. Recalling rumors of greedy heroes who robbed others, he felt the armor was too flashy for a newbie. He sat down, opened the system panel, and noticed a strange option. A notification asked if he wanted to hide the gear to show normal clothes. He accepted. The outfit vanished, replaced by casual clothes, easing his mind. He quickly dressed, planning to go out and buy noodles. His old phone rang, surprising him since few ever called. Answering, a nurse panikedly said thugs were at the hospital trying to take his sister for debt collection. He remembered the loan for her treatment and grew furious as the call cut off. Rage surged, and he crushed the phone in his hand. His sister's cries for help echoed, describing the thug's vile touches. The leader coldly said Kwang's overdue debt meant his sister was collateral. He planned to sell the disabled girl on the black market. Xiaohan tearfully protested and accused them of deceiving her brother. He replied Kwang's payments only covered interest, making her tremble and ask when the debt would end. He gripped her face harshly, issuing brutal threats. He ordered her to obey quietly or face punishment. The door burst open as Kwang kicked in, eyes blazing. The thugs turned, terrified by his furious glare and shout. Seeing her brother, Xiaohan burst into tears and called out. The leader smirked as he recognized Kwang. He mocked that letting the girl repay was already merciful. Without a word, Kwang landed a thunderous punch. The man flew back, teeth shattered, rolling several times before stopping. The system showed his speed boosted by leg power optimization. One thug helped the leader up, shouting in panic. The fat one roared and charged in. Kwang raised his arm to block the straight punch. The counterforce twisted the thug's arm until it snapped, making him scream in agony. The leader pulled a gun from his jacket. He roared and fired straight at Kwang. Xiaohan screamed in terror to stop him. Kwang coldly caught the bullet midair. The henchmen froze, unable to believe what they saw. He smirked, calling himself a hero. The system reported immunity to normal weapons. The three trembled, realizing they'd provoked a master, and called him Hero. A nurse rushed in with police after hearing of a disturbance. The officers entered, stunned by the chaotic scene. Kwang stood calmly while the three men forced awkward smiles, apologizing and promising to leave. In front of the police and nurse, they pretended to repent, then fled the hospital. Outside, the leader angrily vowed to inform the second master, a level 10 fighter with 2300 power, for revenge. Xiaohan rejoiced the thugs were gone. He softly warned he couldn't visit often soon. He explained that until the debt was paid, Qinglong gang would keep bothering them, but assured her he was now a hero. He confirmed he was an intern, showing his badge, Hero Kwang, BTG. He calculated he must return to the other world to sell items and earn 300,000 to clear the debt. In the trainees' training forest, he confidently waited for his infinite skill to recharge for official recognition. Master Kai Ha, a level 9 warrior with 1200 power, ordered everyone to gather for a descent. He declared all found items must be turned in under old rules, and the group responded in unison. Kwang felt annoyed the Hero Alliance kept ignoring corruption, but let it go for now. Kai Ha demanded an extra 1,000 fee, promising passage in return. Everyone bowed silently and accepted. Frustrated, Kwang objected to paying more after their gear had been seized. A kind trainee quietly warned him not to anger Kai Ha, who belonged to the Mad Wolf Guild. Kwang knew they had backing, but still firmly refused to pay, saying he had no money left. Kaya frowned, threatening that refusal meant solo testing, secretly plotting harm. People whispered that solo trials were suicide and called him foolish for offending the instructor and guild. Kwang raised his head and declared he would register for an individual test. The bespectacled man was shocked, warning none survived before, but Kwang stayed firm. Reluctantly, the man registered him, thinking he was insane. Entering the cave, the system reported it as a level C forest requiring a 5-person team with at least 600 power. He froze at the dark scene, recalling when heroes once purged demons here. A shadow flickered through the trees. A monster lunged from behind to strike. He turned and blocked, his armor stopping the blow of a level 3 demon beast with 640 power. He snatched the wooden club from its hand, then countered, felling the monster instantly. He cautiously noted that even the grunts here were strong, but far below his 6,400 power. After clearing them, he sighed at the meager XP, only 26,000 per system. Feeling killing intent nearby, he loudly challenged the hidden foe. A pack of beasts suddenly leaped down from the trees. He sneered, saying it was a good chance to test his new move. He activated Baohao Tentacle Arm, energy surging from his armor. The beasts were blown away. The more he fought, the more excited he grew, roaring for more. Outside, the bespectacled man was stunned seeing him endure nearly an hour. He shook his head, thinking only a madman would attempt this and that Kwang would soon die. But the monitor announced Kwang had cleared the evaluation. He calmly walked out, asking if there was a place nearby to wash up. Kai Ya's group emerged too. He cursed and insulted his team, saying the 1,000 fee was justified. Some retorted that he'd forbidden help, yet mocked them, while others urged silence since the trial was done. Annoyed by gossip, Kai Ya snapped, boasting the fee was already merciful. He took a call, his face paling at bad news. He roared in rage upon hearing Kwang passed the solo test. Enraged, he stormed over, accusing Kwang of being only level 3-4. He claimed lost data proved no rookie could pass without rare gear. Kwang calmly replied that their forced fee drove him to victory. Kaya angrily threatened, flaunting his Mad Wolf Guild status, but Kwang coldly retorted, his eyes bloodshot, Kaya cursed his poverty and swung a punch. Kwang easily blocked it, asking if he planned to kill him. Kaya froze, shocked at Kwang's unexpected speed and strength. He trembled, unable to finish his words. Drawing his sword with killing intent, he made Kwang tense. The blade shattered on contact due to Kwang's defense effect. Kaya was stunned. The impact didn't feel like hitting flesh. He pointed, accusing Kwang of hiding a powerful weapon. Kwang regretted revealing it, but stayed calm outwardly. Kaya narrowed his eyes, grinning slyly, insisting Kwang held a rare artifact and demanded its source. Kwang secretly exhaled in relief, realizing he was safe for now. Pretending to frown, he said the dagger was too old and broke on impact. The bespectacled staffer arrived, inviting him to confirm paperwork to officially become a hero. He agreed immediately. He was glad someone witnessed it, keeping Kaya from acting rashly. As he left, he reminded himself he'd been careless despite enhancements. He was still only level 4. Back in his room, he reflected on Kaya's greedy gaze and reminded himself to stay humble. Outside, 2 strangers secretly watched him. A level 10 mage from Mad Wolf planned to use control magic so his partner could capture Kwang. Kaya agreed, promising to share the loot they seized. The man in black warned to stay silent or risk detection. He prepared to break the front lock. He used fire magic to melt the keyhole, but the door burst open as a Kwang charged out, eyes blazing with fury. He shouted angrily, scolding them for daring to come to his home. He instantly unleashed a special skill, commanding the enemies to kneel. In his mind, he quickly analyzed the level gap and chose to balance the fight using skills and gear. Kaya pulled his ally back but was flung away, roaring in rage. He flaunted his resistance cloak and ordered them to kill Kwang and steal his gear. The black mage hurled a blazing fireball to attack. Realizing his armor was weak against magic, Kwang decided to retreat instead of fighting head-on. He ran, angering the 2 who chased after him. He leapt over the balcony without hesitation. He focused his strength into his legs to reduce landing impact. The system warned that other body parts would be unprotected when power was focused on his legs. Suddenly, a level 12 white-armored warrior struck his abdomen, making him stagger. The man delivered a heavy blow, boasting about the ambush planned by 3 of them. He mocked that it took a whole group to handle one low-level rookie. Kwang crashed hard onto the ground but stayed conscious thanks to his armor. The white warrior was stunned to see him still standing. Kaya and his allies surrounded him. The black mage demanded to know his skill set. Gritting his teeth, Kwang's fighting spirit exploded fiercely. He prepared to activate his tentacle energy for a critical strike. But the mage cast Binding, sealing all of Kwang's abilities. Kwang clenched his teeth in frustration as his skill was nullified. The black mage lusted after his artifact, while the white warrior laughed as all 3 charged in. The system notified that the infinite gateway skill was fully recharged. Seeing the glowing ring, he sighed in relief at his escape route. He activated the gateway. His body sucked away as he taunted the 3 foes. Back in the real world, he gasped for breath and resolved to plan upgrades and learn new skills. He realized relying solely on the system wasn't enough to survive or seek revenge. He asked the beast-eared girl how to learn skills, but saw she was still asleep. Looking at her, he inhaled deeply, sensing her gentle floral scent. The fragrance made his heart skip, testing his composure. Kaya's words echoed in his mind, snapping him back to focus. He reminded himself to handle real-world threats and prepare a leveling plan. The next morning, the beast-eared girl woke, her face radiant after a long rest. He smiled back, hiding his sleepless night, then asked her to sew him another shirt. She said learning skills required scrolls, available at the Orcish tribe's combat academy. After a long journey, they stood before the rocky mountain where the Orcish academy lay in mist. The gatekeeper sternly said only level 6 or higher could enter for testing, forcing Kwang to turn back. He was annoyed by the strict rule, especially while wearing the heart-marked armor she made. The beast-eared girl shyly apologized, saying she didn't know and had passed before using a skill scroll. Kwang smiled gently, promising to reach level 6 in return. She suggested places to train faster. As they left, the gatekeeper sneered mockingly at their background. Hearing that, the beast-eared girl lowered her head sadly, blaming her mixed heritage for his hardship. She intended to confess everything and leave to avoid burdening him. But Kwang suddenly turned back angrily, startling her as she called out. He grabbed the gatekeeper's collar, shouting and threatening to tear the man's mouth for insulting her. He demanded the guard apologize to the girl immediately. The gatekeeper stubbornly kept insulting her as a lowly half-blood unrecognized by the Orcish tribe. Using his heavenly eye, Kwang discovered she truly had no name, a hybrid between human and Orcish. The guard flushed with rage, warning that insulting an Orcish warrior meant punishment, even without royal order. Arrogantly, he said if Kwang wanted an apology, he must pass the trial, mocking humans as too weak. The beast-eared girl bowed, admitting his words were true. She pleaded with Kwang not to get into trouble because of her. Chuang released him, coldly declaring her name was Ying, ordering the man to remember it. The beast-eared girl froze, deeply moved to be named for the first time. He turned away, saying if he cleared the test, the Orcish warrior must apologize to her. He put his arm around her shoulder, inviting her to go level up right away. At a shimmering lake, he excitedly called it the Lake of Souls. He noted the area had rare species perfect for leveling. The beast-eared girl blushed, asking why he chose the name Ying. Kwang scratched his head, wondering if she disliked it, saying it was his personal decision. She quickly shook her head in denial. She said she loved the name, only wanted to know his reason. Blithely blushing, he stammered that he always smelled cherry blossom scent around her. He guessed it was natural and said the name fit, apologizing shyly for naming her without asking. She hugged him tightly, touched by the gift of a name. Overjoyed to have her own name, she beamed while he awkwardly urged to start training. He entered the cave warily. She asked if he was used to the new short sword yet. Kwang said though it was mid-tier, it was far stronger than his old club and felt surprisingly light. 3 level 5 lake orcs appeared, agile with 720 power each. Kwang told Ying to stay back and only observe so it wouldn't count as a party, making her happy to hear her name. The system stated that teams with over 5 level difference couldn't share EXP or loot. Without hesitation, he rushed in to test the sharpness of his new blade. She reminded him lake orcs were fast and cunning, advising a steady stance while attacking. As expected, the orcs dodged swiftly, surprising him. He instantly activated enhancement mode, maximizing his physical resistance. The lake orcs stepped back in fear, readying defense. He coldly declared they could not harm him. The beast-eared girl admired his defense, convinced leveling up was only a matter of time. He fought cautiously, learning to strike precisely against agile foes. He realized solo grinding was efficient and avoided resource competition. Even so, he still worried about the 3 level 12 enemies due to the huge gap. He decided to level fast and pick better active skills. Kwang set his goal to reach level 6 to make the orc apologize, making Ying excitedly agree. They ventured deeper and encountered the dark demon lake orc boss level 7. The monster hid behind a rock, its eyes gleaming fiercely. He stared at the blade on its back, filled with desire to claim it. He asked if that weapon could drop as loot. She explained everything could drop depending on rarity, the dungeon could be farmed again and drop rate boosters used, but rarer items had lower chance. He suddenly realized this world functioned like an RPG, and his system followed the same mechanics. He opened the Heavenly Eye, seeing the Dark Demon Lake Orc boss, level 7 with 1,500 power and full details. The drop rate for the Frostlight blade was only 6%, making him frown. He worried reaching level 6 without getting the blade would be wasteful, but the system suddenly unlocked exchange. The system explained items could be swapped once conditions were met. With the list refreshing by level, unused items would vanish. He sensed hidden depth in the feature, but tested it since only one item was available. It was a scroll-boosting drop rate by 30% for 1 minute. Requiring 30 kills of level 1 to 5 monsters, he had slain 114. Meeting the condition. He was thrilled he could redeem it instantly, far exceeding requirements. Using 3 scrolls together would raise drop chance to 96%. Almost certain of getting the blade, he immediately confirmed the trade. The system showed 3 scrolls, confirming success, but his bag was full, so he had to carry them manually. Kwang stored the items, hoping for the blade's drop as Ying cheered him on. He agreed and asked her to guide battle tactics. The ground trembled with the savage roar of the Lake Orc boss. The boss slashed hard, but Kwang dodged in the nick of time. He was shocked that the airwave from its slash still caused damage. The beast-eared girl analyzed, fast, strong, ice blade slows and weakens, but it fears fire. She advised using flame oil. Kwang coated his sword with fire oil, igniting it in bright flames. He challenged the boss, declaring a duel of ice and fire. He lunged, swinging his blade across its body. The boss countered with an ice strike. Kwang dodged and roared to seize its weapon. Ying reminded him the armpit was its weak point and told him to focus there. He adjusted stance, smiling as his target became clear. He leapt up, stabbing its armpit, blood spurting as it panicked. The system announced a weak point critical hit, doubling damage and reducing its power and morale for 15 seconds. Kwang was stunned by this new effect. He shouted to finish the boss while it was weakened. The beast-eared girl warned that the boss attacked wildly, but predictably dodge then strike. He cheerfully noted her advice and thanked her. Instead of rushing, he held defense and dodged the chaotic swings. He silently rejoiced that thanks to Ying, he avoided reckless mistakes. When the boss tired, he saw the opening and slashed its neck as guided. Kwang powered up fully, channeling strength into his arm for the mightiest blow. The flaming blade pierced its neck, blood gushing as the system registered triple critical damage, weakening it further. Jung rejoiced but urged her master to stay safe. Full of pride, Kwang leapt again, delivering the finishing strike. A thunderous blast erupted. The boss was completely destroyed. The beast-eared girl shouted excitedly in praise. Kwang felt deeply satisfied after the spectacular battle. He spotted the scroll and quickly used it before claiming rewards. The system boosted drop rate to 96% for the brief minute. He rejoiced that his plan worked perfectly. The system congratulated him for defeating a level 7 boss, granting 3,000 EXP and the Demon Frostlight Blade. Kwang was surprised by Ying's small bag already filled with loot. After leaving the cave, he felt pleased everything went smoothly. She handed him a replay scroll. The system reset the dungeon, and he entered full of energy. He tested the Frostlight Blade, praising its slowing effect. Ying believed he'd grow even stronger. In his mind space, he held the Orose Divine Mace, dreaming of the day he could wield it. After many battles, Kwang taunted the Lake Orcs provocatively. They responded, boasting their records and challenging him directly. Current status: Level 5 Warrior, wielding Frostlight Blade, Skills Copy and Heaven Earth Flame, Power 5 out 800, Progress 800, 9,000. On the third scroll use, Kwang gripped his blade tightly and shouted a challenge. On the fourth, he reactivated it, smiling confidently as the boss faced him amid cheers. By the fifth round, his aura surged so powerfully, the boss bowed in fear. On the sixth, the exhausted boss dropped its weapon, completely surrendering. Kwang laughed proudly, delivering a triumphant closing line. The system immediately confirmed his victory. Notification: Level up to 6, Power 7,600, Progress 7,600, 8,800. He gasped in joy beside the boss's corpse. He reminded himself that stamina formed the base of all attack power. Not forgetting his goal, he headed toward the academy exam. At the gate, guards still mocked that a human dared dream of advancement in orc territory. Kwang appeared, declaring he had reached level 6. The guards were stunned, asking how he gained 2 levels in a single day. Kwang coldly demanded to meet the examiner and told them to prepare to apologize. A silver-haired Orcish elder angrily stepped out, warning of punishment for wasting time. He was a level 20 warrior and academy overseer. Kwang calmly requested to begin testing and promised to choose fitting skills. Every academy had its own skill library, open to anyone who passed regardless of race. The Orcish elder doubted him, saying level 6 could hardly pass, while a guard whispered something in his ear. After hearing it, the elder was shocked by Kwang's rise from level 4 to 6 in one day. The morning guard was recognized, and Kwang reminded him to be ready to apologize if he passed. The guard sneered, mocking humans for their overconfidence. The overseer watched with interest, agreeing humans rarely surpassed orcs. Nearby warriors laughed arrogantly. The chief priest stepped forward, announcing the test was based on strength pass it, and access to the skill library would be granted. He pointed to a boulder, saying it must show a crack to count as a pass. Kwang was surprised the task seemed simple, but clearly wasn't. The Orcish guards secretly laughed. It was ultra-hard alien stone. Even level 10 struggled to mark it, valued for durability and metal content, used in weapon tests. The overseer smirked challengingly, saying leaving any mark sufficed, then demonstrated himself. He thought no one below level 10 could break it, especially a human. To prove his point, he struck full force, shouting loud even as a level 20 he barely made it crack. After splitting part of the stone, he wiped sweat and feigned calm, saying matching that result would pass. Kwang stepped forward full of vigor as the beast-eared girl cheered beside him. He steadied his breath, planning how to channel all strength into a single punch. The system displayed 50% of his power focused in his right arm. The overseer mocked that a human body could never match an orc's might. Before he finished speaking, Kwang's thunderous punch shattered the solid stone. The orcs froze, unable to believe their eyes. Kwang shrugged, half joking that maybe he used too much force. Turns out it wasn't so hard. The beast-eared girl cheered happily, affirming he qualified for the skill library. The guard and chief priest stood dumbfounded, one stammering, the other doubting what he'd just seen. Kwang calmly brushed off his hands, firmly asking if he had passed. The overseer quickly denied it, claiming he used leftover energy from a previous strike. Kwang frowned, asking what the real test standard was. The chief priest regained composure and signaled to move to the next trial. He introduced the steel-bending challenge, a test even orcs struggled to pass, confident Kwang would fail. Kwang activates his full strength, bends a steel bar effortlessly, leaving the officer embarrassed. The officer changes the test, ordering him to arm wrestle the strongest warrior as a final trial. Kwang uses 70% power and crushes the giant opponent instantly, feeling bored by the ease. The officer turns pale, stunned that his trump card was defeated instantly. Kwang insists he has passed 3 tests and demands official recognition. The supervisor trembles while confirming his success. The surrounding orcs freeze in shock. Kwang pulls the beast-eared girl forward, reminding the guard to keep his promise to apologize. The orc reluctantly nods, saying orc warriors never break their word. He bows deeply and apologizes loudly for his earlier insult. A Kwang steps back, saying he's used to contempt. The beast-eared girl comforts him softly. A Kwang asserts she deserves that apology. The beast-eared girl gently nods in acceptance. A Kwang stands tall, accepting the apology confidently. At the skill library gate, the supervisor introduces the area. He warns only one scroll can be chosen each time, making a Kwang curious. The officer explains harshly, "You have 3 minutes to break the seal or be expelled and temporarily banned." He says the academy protects power through sealed scrolls, with magic seals by mages to control access. These barriers prevent theft and maintain order in the library. A Kwang understands the complexity. The beast-eared girl confirms it's stricter in major academies. As the door opens, the supervisor warns not to steal skills and stresses the 3-minute limit. When the countdown starts, a Kwang is overwhelmed by countless glowing scrolls. In a tank top, he notices each scroll bears a magic seal breakable by moderate force. He plans to use absolute copy to take a skill and leave this world, but finding the right one is hard. The copy skill lets him touch an opponent's heart to seize their full technique. A Kwang resolves to find a powerful move to escape the Mad Wolf Guild. He grabs the first scroll, eyes lighting up as he thinks he's succeeded. It reveals a shield attack skill that stuns enemies fit for defensive fighters. He rejects it since he doesn't use shields. The beast-eared girl offers to read others. She presents Gale Step, boosting speed and evasion good for archers. He declines. She mentions Crimson Battle, raising allies' stats. He refuses, disliking support roles. With 2 minutes left, he rushes as she points to a counterattack skill. This skill reflects enemy strikes and negative effects ideal for counter warriors. In a flash decision, he chooses that skill. They keep filtering, skipping wide range and strange abilities. With 1 minute left, he realizes breaking the seal reveals the skill's full data. He tells her to use recovery potions on him, then step back for safety. She's startled but obeys immediately. He clenches his fist, full of resolve. Outside, the supervisor is shocked by a strange phenomenon in the sky. He panics, asking what kind of mutation this is. A Kwang decides to break all seals in the library. The beast-eared girl feels his aura surge far beyond normal limits. The system warns that Fallen God King can't fully activate, forced duration 1 second. He ignores it, saying 1 second is enough. The tower blazes, light swirling like a dragon. Outside, orc warriors are stunned by the massive energy. Sakura is also overwhelmed, forced to retreat. The system announces Fallen God King reverse activation for 1 second. He roars to break all seals. A deafening explosion echoes through the library. Hundreds of skill scrolls shake and detonate. Sakura trembles as all seals vanish in an instant. A Kwang collapses as the system reports success, 50 seconds left. He rejoices as skill data appears one by one. The beast-eared girl panics as the massive data distorts space, fearing he can't endure. She rushes to him, urging him to stay strong. A Kwang clutches his head in pain, shouting to pick the strongest, most suitable skill. The system warns 40 seconds remain. Unsatisfied, he demands something stronger. He spots a distant scroll glowing with strange lightning. That scroll flickers rapidly, 30 seconds left. Sakura urges him to hurry as time runs out. He points to it precisely, telling her to grab it fast. She sprints off immediately. She finds it with 20 seconds remaining. Sakura freezes, realizing it's a broken scroll. She explains broken scrolls are incomplete skills with reduced power, rarely practiced. She double-checks if he truly wants it. She holds the scroll, helping him up as only 10 seconds remain. He lifts Sakura, activating full power in his legs to run despite overload. Outside, orc warriors watch suspiciously as 5 seconds remain before expulsion. Countdown, 3, 2, 1. As the door cracks open, a surge of blue light and lightning bursts out. A Kwang carries Sakura out just in time. Orc warrior Orochi is stunned seeing him hold the broken scroll. The scroll contains Lightning Chain Surge, a powerful thunder skill striking one target, then chaining to 3 others, causing damage and paralysis, a forbidden move upgradable with missing parts. An orc warrior says no one has dared learn from this broken scroll for 1,000 years. It's split into 6 parts, only 3 found, and all who tried exploded from evolving power. A Kwang shivers, saying it's pointless to die for training, asking if anyone ever mastered it. A trembling elder confirms only one person ever did. That was the God King of a millennium ago, creator of the fallen god hammer and this skill. A Kwang calmly asks why a god-tier skill lies here, angering the elder who calls him arrogant. The elder says power unused becomes worthless, mocked and forgotten. A Kwang grips the broken scroll, inviting Sakura to leave. She happily agrees. The elder warns this is only the first part. Mastery depends on strength and fate. Suddenly he points at Sakura, asking if she's from the Olija clan once executed. Sakura freezes at the question. She accuses him of slaughtering her clan and fears he'll use a Kwang as a sacrifice. She coldly says that matter has nothing to do with him. Then she turns to follow a Kwang while the elder laughs. He taunts, saying hell see how far they can go. Later at the inn, a Kwang complains Sakura's recovery potion works well but smells awful, though he's fully healed. He curiously asks how she makes it. After coughing, he notices Sakura seems different since returning. She smiles, saying she's just a bit tired, nothing more. A Kwang asks why she was sentenced to execution. Sakura stands silent, stunned by the question. He reminds her she was executed right after him. She sighs, avoiding the sad topic, and asks if he has learned the broken scroll. A Kwang says he's mastered it and feels the skill suits his powerful body, is eager to collect the remaining parts to see how it will evolve. Sakura keeps smiling, wears her bag, and invites him to continue their journey. She praises the good weather, saying it's perfect for his level up. He glances at her, then at his ring. The system reports the infinite ring has recovered and opened a portal. He smiles, formulating a plan to defeat his 3 enemies with the new skill. He vows that when he returns, it'll be their death day. The system displays his level, class, and gear. A purple flash engulfs a Kwang, pulling him into another space. He declares his return. Before the enemies can react, he opens his mind pack, ready to use his new skill to break their encirclement. The system reports retrieving items from his mental space. He summons the demon Shadow Blade, leaving 1 slot empty. The 3 are terrified but still sneer, planning to kill him for loot. As they rush in, a Kwang swings his blade, saying he only fights back when forced. The bald one freezes at his explosive power. The blade releases a blinding bolt of lightning. The energy tears through the air. All 3 are violently shaken. The lightning strikes one, then chains to the other 2, heavily injuring and paralyzing them. The trio collapse, unable to believe a human wields such terrifying magic. Electricity envelops a Kwang's entire body. The bald man trembles, realizing his power spike, and goes all out. The black-haired one panics and raises his hand to surrender. A Kwang coldly beheads him. He scorns them, saying mercy is a dream. The long-haired man screams, invoking the Mad Wolf Guild. A Kwang silences him mid-sentence with a single slash. The bald man charges desperately, knowing there's no escape. A Kwang closes in, calmly warning hell be next. The man grins defiantly in response. He throws a rare sticky explosive orb, triggering massive blasts. He shouts the activation command, causing chain explosions. A sea of fire engulfs a Kwang. He laughs madly, boasting the rare item can kill level 10-12 warriors. He mocks a Kwang as an inexperienced fool. But amid the flames, a Kwang still stands, admitting it hurts a bit. The man is petrified, unable to believe his eyes. Fear consumes him before a Kwang's true strength. A Kwang says he's protected by the Oro's armor, negating fatal blows. Then blue light flares intensely. A Kwang dashes forward, landing a fatal punch, declaring all 3 will die. The punch carries devastating, destructive force. He calmly steps from the blood pool, saying, "Hell rest easy only when all are dead." Regaining focus, he concludes they were assassins from the Mad Wolf Guild sent by Kai Ya. He sighs, reflecting on a world where the weak are devoured. As he turns to leave, he spots something hidden in the bald man's shirt. He wonders what it is. Upon opening it, he's shocked to find a spatial container, a rare space ring with capacity by grade and immense value. He rejoices, immediately reading the activation guide. He admits it's a treasure most warriors only dream of and tries it at once. When activated, the ring drains his mana. The system confirms successful bonding, a basic type surprising him. A cold smile appears as he decides to loot all 3 corpses. Moments later, the area is sealed off. He's glad to have escaped before guards arrived. Has sure all traces are erased. Relieved, he plays with the ring while stealing Kaya's phone to transfer ownership to himself. Suddenly, the phone vibrates, startling him. After a moment's hesitation, he answers and greets the caller. The voice is Ms. Lala, his former homeroom teacher, asking why he still keeps contact after quitting school. She says winter break is nearly over and urges him to return despite his hardships. A Kwang thanks her quietly, saying money isn't the only reason. He admits he disliked the school because of bullying. Ms. Lala, moved, tells him not to throw away his chance to change his fate. She promises to cover his tuition if he returns for his future and his sister's sake. Hearing that, a Kwang feels touched, realizing she truly cares. She continues encouraging him to face life bravely and not quit, vowing to help him. A Kwang smiles faintly, saying he's now strong enough to change how people see him. He stands, deciding to return to school now, a level 6 warrior with strong gear and power of 8,800. Meanwhile, the Mad Wolf Guild rages over 3 slain members and their lost items. They've also lost the space ring they were guarding. The ring bears a locator spell, tracking its wearer unless removed by a high mage. The guild leader says a Kwang's location is nearly confirmed. He, a level 21 warrior with 11,200 power, swears to kill the ring thief himself. He orders a full-scale hunt. His men move out immediately. The next morning, a Kwang walks Xiaohan to school. Gently asking about her, she smiles, saying he needn't worry. He praises her strength and recalls their promise to return to school together. At first, he worried about her mobility, but advanced support braces now let Xiaohan stand and walk. The money from the 3 enemies barely covered the device, leaving him broke. He keeps the space ring for its long-term value. Seeing Xiaohan smile, He feels every sacrifice was worth it. He reminds her not to wander after class and promises to heal her legs. She nods obediently. From afar, some mean girls gossip about her family tragedy and crippled legs. They mock her, claiming they heard it from teachers. Mina sneers, saying poor people's deaths aren't pitiful, and she hates Xiaohan's gentle face. Vivi worries bullying a disabled girl could cause trouble if exposed. Mina coldly says cripples can still be bullied, assuming Xiaohan will stay silent, and plots something crueler. She leaves to meet her boyfriend, with Vivi reluctantly following. Ms. La tells Kwang to thank her. The dean scolds that without her plea, he wouldn't be allowed back. The dean yells that he can't just quit and rejoin at will, disrespecting the school. Ms. La explains Kwang's withdrawal was forced, that he's paid tuition, and shall tutor him to catch up. Kwang pledges to study seriously and thanks them both. As they leave, she tells him to pick up his books for the day. No one knows the dean has long harbored bad intentions toward her. He secretly thinks this favor will make her owe him. Outside, she reassures Kwang she's also paid Xiaohan's tuition, praising their perseverance, touching him deeply. She says the advance doesn't need quick repayment, and reminds him to prepare for final exams. Seeing his improved spirit, she smiles with satisfaction. He replies he'll do his best and never disappoint her. Inside, he hides his identity as a hero since the Mad Wolf case isn't over, yet he wants to prove he's changed. She turns away, reminding him not to miss the art class. In class, butterflies drift by, the air calm and quiet. Kwang walks to his seat. Lei immediately mocks him, thinking he'd quit school for good. One lackey suggests beating him up again, planning to meet after class in the restroom. Lei smirks, saying Kwang still owes protection money. He coldly adds that family troubles don't earn sympathy, while his gang laughs. The familiar feeling stirs, reminding Kwang of past humiliation. Lei throws a paper at Kwang, but Kwang catches it instantly. The group freezes at his precise catch. Kwang shifts slightly. He calmly tells Lei to meet him at the restroom after class. They burst out laughing, taking it as a bold challenge, threatening harsher punishment. The dismissal bell rings continuously. At the restroom door, the gang guards the entrance, blocking outsiders. Lei and two thugs corner Kwang, taunting him about quitting and scavenging. He demands the unpaid protection fee, ordering Kwang to hand it over. Kwang coldly asks, "What if I don't?" They hesitate briefly. Lei roars, signaling them to attack hard. Two rush forward, but Kwang blocks immediately. He easily neutralizes every strike. They panic, realizing his power far surpasses before. Kwang knows he's completely changed now, a level 6 warrior with full gear and skills. Activating Heavenly Eye, he sees their weakness, one even begs for mercy. They cry out miserably, pleading to be spared. When one kicks recklessly, Kwang counters swiftly, knocking down two. Lei freezes, speechless. A single kick sends two flying, horrifying him. He recalls the weak Kwang from before. The difference between then and now is overwhelming. At that moment, a lackey warns the teacher is coming. Hearing it, Lei pulls his men to retreat. He still glares at Kwang with hatred. Kwang understands that look as a warning. Luckily, he restrained himself. Otherwise, the outcome would be serious. He senses more trouble ahead. Xiaohan thanks Xuanzi, being told to keep her notes. Suddenly, she's slapped hard. The culprit, Mina, threatens her and drags her aside. Xiaohan steps away as Mina sits opposite. Mina mocks her, bringing up the past and demanding repayment. Xiaohan pleads fearfully, saying she has nothing. Mina sneers, eyeing the device on Xiaohan's leg. Xiaohan quickly explains it's a gift from her brother. Mina feigns surprise to mock her. She laughs at Xiaohan for needing assistive gear. Xiaohan no-dia submissively to avoid conflict. Mina slaps her again, saying it's irrelevant. The whole class stays silent. The bell rings as the teacher tells everyone to settle down. Mina storms off, saying they'll talk later. The teacher begins a new lesson and tells students to take out books. Xiaohan trembles, planning to slip out the back after class. At the same time, in class 11.3 with Kwang, Ms. La ends the lesson, reminding everyone to stay safe. The class stands and greets her goodbye. She asks Kwang to stay behind. He politely agrees. She asks if he's adjusted to school life. She continues, asking if he needs any help. Kwang says everything's fine and thanks her. She sternly reminds him to report any bullying, not to hide it. He smiles, assuring her everything truly is fine. La believes him, happy he's adapting, then dismisses him. She leaves as he bows respectfully. One of Lei's lackeys approaches, pretending to make peace about the earlier fight. He invites Kwang to talk somewhere private. Kwang shows disdain but agrees. The boy says it's just nearby. He insists on a quiet spot to speak clearly. He says that place will soon be empty. As they turn a corner, Lei appears, eyes full of hatred. He swings a stick, striking Kwang's head repeatedly. The lackey panics, afraid he's hitting too hard. Kwang activates his strength, blocking easily with just 30% power, stunning them. Both can't believe he blocked the blows. His eyes glow as he says he foresaw their ambush. He counters with a punch to the lackey, then follows with a powerful kick. He dodges another sneak attack, then retaliates with a fatal kick. The thug collapses instantly. Kwang mocks that they're just ordinary students. Lei charges again, swinging the stick fiercely. Kwang glares coldly, warning hellkill if it continues. Lei freezes, body paralyzed with fear. Terror of a Kwang fills his mind. Kwang punches him hard in the stomach, telling him to sleep. With only 2 strikes, Lei faints. Kwang leaves calmly, muttering his late to pick up his sister. He reflects on his rule never to kill innocents. At the back gate, Xiaohan struggles to walk. She plans to slip out the rear to avoid Mina, then circle to the front to meet her brother. As she descends the stairs, her legs tremble, still unsteady. She takes a deep breath, recalling her brother's advice to go slowly. Suddenly, someone shoves her hard from behind. Everything in her hands scatters. She falls, blood dripping from her nose. Mina appears, smirking. She guessed Xiaohan's route. She orders the removal of Xiaohan's support device. Xiaohan struggles, begging her not to touch it. Mina coldly threatens to take more if she resists. Meanwhile, a Kwang waits at the gate, anxious since his sister hasn't shown though class ended. A gentle voice speaks from behind. Xuan Shui approaches, asking about Xiaohan. He replies and asks for clues they'd planned to go home together. She suggests checking the back exit, fearing Xiaohan went that way. Minutes later, a Kwang hurries down the hall, recalling Xuanzi's words about that direction. He wonders why his sister would take that path unless she's in trouble. The image of Xuanzi rushing off deepens his suspicion. He resolves to find Xiaohan first. He thinks of the staircase near the back door, unsure if she's ever used it. Reaching the railing, he looks down. He sees his sister covered in blood. He freezes for a moment, then quickly regains composure. Xiaohan spots him too. She asks in surprise why he's there. He descends while using his perception skill, realizing her wounds are from assault, though she smiles, claiming she fell. He pretends to believe her and lets it go, but fury burns inside, his eyes turning icy cold. She forces a smile, saying her cane broke so she can't stand. He bends to pick up her scattered books, gently tells her not to worry. Asking if it hurts, she says she's fine. Pain in her leg makes her groan softly, fearing her device is broken. He smiles, reassuring her it's still intact. Relieved, she says they should go home together. He kneels and carries her on his back. The siblings walk under the fading sunset. He quietly recalls old times. He used to carry her like this when they were little. That moment makes him realize she's grown up. She hugs him tightly, saying they've only had each other since then. Memories flood back as a Kwang silently vows to stay strong and protect her forever. Xiaohan chokes up, blaming herself for being a burden. He sets her on a bench, says she'll always be his sister, and tells her to stay put. She asks where he's going. He claims he forgot something and walks off. She's suspicious, but obeys. Rage surges inside him. In Class 3, Grade 2. Mina brags about bullying Xiaohan, regretting not stealing the device, and asks Billy for help. Billy hesitates, but upon learning its value, agrees to take it. Vai interrupts, mentioning a Kwang Xiaohan's brother once quit school to become a punisher. Mina sneers, calling him a trash picker, mocking that both siblings should drop out. Vai adds that before her accident, Xiaohan was well-liked. Billy grows curious, wanting to see the girl himself. Mina, jealous, questions his real intentions. He quickly appeases her, saying it was just a joke. She stays angry, ordering him to steal the device tomorrow and sell it. He agrees, dismissing the idea of bullying a weak girl unaware a Kwang is listening outside. Suddenly, Kwang steps into the room. The sound of his footsteps makes everyone turn. Billy shouts for him to leave. Kwang calmly accuses them of hitting and pushing Xiaohan. Vai realizes he's Xiaohan's brother, shocked by his new aura. Billy smirks, saying he's defending his sister at the wrong time. He approaches, recognizing him as the former trash picker. He mocks that Kwang isn't on Mina's level. Kwang coldly asks why they hurt his sister. Billy laughs, suggesting they should apologize mockingly. Mina lazily orders Isabelia to deal with him. Billy suddenly senses something's wrong. Looking down, he sees his finger bent backward. He screams, cursing Kwang for daring to attack. The group panics, not understanding what happened. Kwang steps forward and closes the door. He says coldly none of the three will leave. The system shows, job class unknown, combat power unreadable. Mina rises in fear, asking what he intends. Kwang mocks their abuse of power against the weak. Billy groans, threatening him by mentioning his father. Mina rushes over in panic. Vai tries to intervene, saying he's brave to face them. She advises him not to make enemies of the powerful. He suddenly punches her, sending her flying 8 meters away. Her head hits a desk, lollipop snapping. He says it's a rare punishment for a girl. Mina stares in horror at Vivian collapsing. Billy freezes at Kwang's impossible speed. He still tries one last warning. Kwang replies coldly that Mina and Vivian don't deserve to be called women. He grips Billy's shoulder before he can speak. His teeth shatter as Kwang orders silence. Mina screams Billy's name in panic. Kwang instantly grabs her by the neck. Her head slams hard against the wall. She coughs violently, struggling and begging for mercy. He signals silence, saying he knows she masterminded Xiaohan's harm. He sternly declares his Xiaohan's only brother. Emotions erupt violently within him. Rage consumes all reason. He tightens his grip, forcing them to stay away from Xiaohan forever. No fake apologies needed. With icy eyes, he threatens to break her neck if it happens again, demanding a nod. Mina, choking, nods frantically. He releases her, saying it's good she understands. Then he turns to Billy with disdain. He grabs a ruler, repeating Billy's wish to see Xiao Han. He says the ruler will teach scum like him a lesson, ignoring his pleas. He coldly says Billy deserves to be erased. Billy trembles but boasts his father is the vice leader of the Qingshe gang. Kwang immediately recalls it's a loan shark syndicate. He remembers how they once forced him into debt to save his sister. He sneered, calling it an unforgettable fate. His brutality surged, making Billy doubt if he was a hero. Before he could speak, lightning struck down. The activated power burned him, but the system reduced 90% damage from sub-weapons. A Chiang left with disdain, thinking that was enough for a mortal. He slung his backpack, stopped, and turned back to remind them. He warned Mina to keep her promise, saying this was the only chance. He told the group to clean up the wrecked room themselves. The beaten ones groaned on the ground, coughing in pain. Mina ran over in panic, shocked to learn Billy was a hero. She angrily urged him to take revenge and teach a Chiang a lesson. Billy, enraged, grabbed Mina's collar, vowing a Chiang would pay. He believed he only needed his father's permission to strike. Mina trembled but agreed, wanting a Chiang to know he messed with the wrong man. Billy declared he'd wipe out both a Chiang and his crippled sister. The scene shifted outside the school. Xiao Han sat quietly waiting for her brother, afraid he misunderstood her. She blamed herself for being helpless, wishing to share his burden. A call startled her. She saw her brother smiling, apologizing for the wait and inviting her home. He offered to carry her, she agreed, and offered to hold his backpack. On the way, he pondered the threat from Qingshi Bang and their future. He resolved to return to another world to train and protect his sister. The gate opened and he stepped into the other world. Sakura awaited, introducing Noten City with guilds, taverns, forges, and many facilities. He clenched his fists excitedly, eager to start real combat. The screen displayed his level, warrior class, equipment, and skills. Arriving at Noten, the Beastman town, he marveled at the diverse Orci tribes. Sakura laughed, explained the Orochi race, then noticed two distant figures. They were two human adventurers. Sakura said all races could enter big cities. Killing was banned outside arenas. Most here were Orochi. She added that noble elves were rare, making him eager to greet his kin. The human girl looked uneasy. Achang greeted happily, prompting Sakura to warn him not to act rashly. The two strangers grew wary, ordering him to stay back. He asked in surprise if greeting was forbidden. Sakura quickly explained it was just a misunderstanding. They sensed a strong aura but stayed cautious. Both turned away with displeasure. Sakura advised not to talk to strangers since adventurers are suspicious, especially of humans in Orochi lands. He complained about strict rules. As they walked on, he felt many curious stares aimed at him. Sakura said it was because she carried beast blood, often discriminated against. He calmly said to ignore it and go register at the Adventurer Guild. He smiled, offering his hand, treating prejudice lightly, and invited her along. She hesitated briefly but placed her hand in his. Upon reaching the city center, he was amazed by the game-like scenery. Sakura reminded him to register before taking quests. He approached the counter and asked to register as an adventurer. A fox girl receptionist greeted them, calling them an interesting pair. She asked who among them would register. A Qiang said he would, and complimented her as different from outsiders. The fox girl smiled, saying she'd seen many strange duos, then handed him the form for data sync. He was surprised at the official form, and she explained it must be filled to receive the badge. They said the badge was an identity proof. The higher the rank, the greater the privileges. The starting ranks include gold, silver, bronze, black steel, white, dark, and dark blue. The main tiers are black steel, bronze, silver, and dark gold. Dark gold is rare and for special quests only. He was excited despite being low-ranked, learning that rank could be hidden on the medal. Seeing level 6 displayed, he admired the impressive technology. The medal links through thought and can hide rank after mastering sensing. He closed his eyes and made the rank vanish with system support. Xiaohu was surprised the rookie succeeded so easily. Suddenly, several Orci warriors pushed in, shoving him aside to submit a quest. They placed a monster corpse on the table. An ORC voice joked, asking if there were more requests. Then he invited her to a tavern that night, but Xiaohu refused and fetched new missions. She mentioned an urgent, high-paying quest requiring level 10+, asking if they dared take it. The two Orcs hesitated and asked for details. Xiaohu explained a level 10 dark monster had taken over a farm, injuring and killing another team. That team was stronger, so they backed off, saying the difficulty suited level 20 only. A king suddenly accepted the quest. He stepped up, his provocative tone angering the ORC. One comrade stopped him, reminding no weapons allowed in the guild. The ORC mocked him for courting death and boasting as a newbie, but he replied that others' failure didn't mean his. He challenged them to a duel in the arena, confident in his system's power. The Orcish sneered, flaunting experience and mocking his new badge, saying he'd be rejected anyway. Xiaohu looked uneasy, slightly defending him but agreeing his level was too low. Urusei sneered, telling him to do petty dog-searching jobs instead. Sakura calmly pulled him away, saying the quest was already registered. Everyone froze. The Orcish lowered his voice, insulting her as a lowly half-beast. She silently revealed a dark gold medal. He stared wide-eyed in shock. She was actually of the highest rank in the adventurer system. Xiaohu was stunned too, scolding her for hiding her status. He immediately assigned the quest. Sure, the client would be pleased. The two orcs retreated. A Chiang laughed, praising how fast they ran. Sakura suggested doing the quest to help him level up. He agreed instantly. Xiaohu curiously asked why someone so strong called that boy master, doubting his true identity. They officially became a mysterious adventuring duo. On the way, Sakura checked the map and pointed out the farm ahead. He praised her sense of direction. She said she'd joined the guild since childhood, completing countless quests. She added she'd only recently qualified for dark gold rank, humbly not boasting, making him think her path was tough, though he praised her talent aloud. Sakura blushed and softly thanked him. The two stopped walking. Before them lay a village shrouded in black mist, radiating menace. It teemed with dark monsters, forcing them to observe from outside. As the monsters neared, their grotesque forms became clear, their numbers uncertain. Sakura explained that creatures corroded by demonic miasma turned into monsters. These were born from demonic slime, like the evil goblins they'd met. A Chiang compared them to mud people, and Sakura said their only weakness was lightning, which kept even strong teams wary. He immediately recalled his new chain lightning wing skill, finding it perfect. He eagerly activated his power, telling Sakura to just watch, boasting he'd prepared to level up fast. She suddenly rushed forward, grabbing his collar to stop him. With a serious look, she said she couldn't let him fight alone anymore, surprising him to ask why. She explained this wasn't a safe zone but a real battlefield. Those faint-level monsters were deadly if he went solo, so she wanted to fight beside him. He paused, saying he had 2 questions. He thought they needed a clear leveling plan to prepare for both worlds. Sakura stepped closer, saying he could ask anything, and Shed answered sincerely. He mentioned the pact with the Beast King he must return within a year for the trial. His first question, what level and power would be enough to surpass the Beast King in 1 year? Sakura fell silent for a moment. She lowered her head, speaking sadly but honestly. She said it was impossible no one could surpass the Beast King within a year from his level. He asked why. She confessed even surviving a year would be a miracle, then asked if he understood level progression rules. He frowned and told her to explain more clearly. He only knew levels were shared between worlds, but adventurers of the same rank were stronger than heroes from the real world. Sakura said the max level was 100, while the Beast King was level 92, with extraordinary talent and growth. The Beast King, Human King, and Elf King were the 3 supreme powers of all races. He was shocked the Beast King was near the power limit. She said everyone had a level threshold. The higher it was, the harder to advance. She herself took 20 years to reach level 72. Even after many attempts, she stayed at 72 due to physical limits. Surpassing the Beast King required at least level 50. Reaching level 50 in 1 year was nearly impossible. Ordinary people spent a lifetime. He fell silent in thought. Then he looked up calmly, saying he understood her meaning. Sakura asked if he was afraid, saying she only wished to strive alongside him. He smiled, saying he was different from other adventurers. He recalled surviving divine punishment and wielding a godly hammer, believing he could reach level 50 in a year. He told himself he was the chosen one, refusing a mediocre fate. Sakura was moved, her eyes glowing with faith. She declared he would become a legend and that she believed in him completely. A Chiang drew his sword, opened the gate, ready to fight. Suddenly recalling the second question, he turned to her. Sakura apologized for talking too much. He pushed the door open while asking. He asked what level was needed to face a level 10 warrior and dozens of subordinates. She replied at least level 12 was needed to gain the upper hand. He resolved to level up 6 times in a week to reach 12. She nodded in agreement. As they entered, a level 10 dark monster roared and charged. Despite its massive size, he calmly told Sakura not to interfere. He activated Heavenly Eye to utilize the chosen system. A data panel appeared. Slime-type monster, battle power 1500, lightning weakness, high regeneration, core glows when hit its vital point. He thought normal attacks were too weak, but if he struck the core with red lightning, he could win. He dashed forward, hunting for the monster's weak spot. Sakura warned him to be careful since its attacks carried corrosive poison. He curtly replied he knew. He believed his enhanced body could endure a level 10 strike. Activating maximum physique, he closed in and slashed hard at its belly. He found no core there, as he had predicted. When he landed, the monster had already fully regenerated, showing terrifying recovery. It roared and lunged to swallow him whole. He blocked with his sword, scoffing that it had picked the wrong prey. He focused all power into his arm. He declared he would tear the monster's mouth apart. He unleashed his master's power, body surpassing its limit, then ripped the creature open. Sakura froze, beginning to believe he could achieve the impossible. As the monster roared, Achang picked up his sword. He discovered the core hidden beneath its tongue. He immediately charged to attack. He aimed at the golden core and fired lightning to test his power. He combined red lightning and red leap in a chained strike. The level 10 monster screamed as its HP dropped sharply. Achang panted heavily, sweat streaming down. He smiled, calling the quest easy, then checked his status. Level, class, gear, skills, progress, 315,000. Half an hour passed. He had nearly cleared all monsters around the farm, maintaining a combat power of 8,800. He realized leveling was slow since weak monsters gave little EXP progress. Only 3,615,000 a new strategy was needed. He set goals. Pull 6 levels in a week and level 50 within a year. Thinking of lightning grease, he found Sakura, who praised him. Lightning grease was a magic mixture that infused weapons with electricity, both common and strong. Sakura said 4 bottles remained, enough for both since she had prepared in advance. He praised her foresight, planning to buy fire grease later. Sakura said funds were low and supplies costly, so they needed to track expenses. He felt guilty for not managing finances, asking about prices and rewards. He guessed Sakura had used her own money to support him. Sakura explained lightning grease cost 30 silver. The quest reward was 3 gold, but their team was broke now. She planned to budget the 3 gold and buy healing potions for Chiang. He was touched, praising Sakura as diligent like a wife. He adjusted his sword, preparing to face the boss in the barn. Sakura cheered him on. The Arose farm owner and guards arrived, questioning their identity and showing annoyance. The guards doubted they could slay monsters, assuming another team quit halfway. That team claimed the boss reward was theirs, suspecting info leakage. Achang asked back. Sakura immediately took stance, saying the guild assigned them. He confirmed the rumor that the boss dropped a domain core. The farm owner admitted it, and the other team was shocked by its value. They threatened to compete for it since the item was priceless. Achang asked Sakura. She said they couldn't give up due to its worth. Sakura explained the domain core could open demon zones, boosting EXP and loot tenfold, worth 150 gold refined. Aching resolved to seize it to level up faster. The farm owner intervened, reminding everyone to stick to assigned tasks. He proposed a contest. Whoever defeated the barn boss would earn all rewards and the core. Sakura volunteered to go first, wanting to help Achang's plan. The rival team demanded to enter first as guests, and the farm owner agreed. They confidently went in, ready to defeat the level 12 boss with full strength. Sakura saw their teamwork and worried they might steal the prize, but Achang stayed calm. He suddenly requested to solo the boss himself. He set the condition: if he lost, he'd quit the quest; if he won, he'd take all spoils. The rivals froze upon hearing he was only level 6. They mocked him, calling it a dream to solo a demon boss. He still cheerfully accepted the fight. Sakura warned the boss was powerful and extremely dangerous. He reassured Sakura he'd be fine. She nodded reluctantly, allowing him to try. The rivals sneered, waiting for his miserable end. He only smiled, unfazed, and accepted the challenge. As he entered, his aura changed completely, no longer seeming like a level 6 weakling. Many doubted he had become someone else. He stepped into the boss's lair. Seeing a massive creature half tree, half octopus, he scoffed, confirming it was a level 14 boss. The spectators all thought he was doomed. Sakura called out her master's name in worry. The opponents mocked her, telling her to prepare to collect his corpse. Sakura coldly snapped back, telling them to shut up. They were stunned by her harsh reaction. Achang analyzed the boss's body, realizing it far surpassed normal monsters, and decided to use his reserved power. The monster roared, attempting to devour its challenger whole. The system warned him, making him realize he had to finish it in one strike. He drew the Divine King's hammer, knowing it could only activate for 1 second with heavy cost. He planned to combine Physique, the Heaven Earth Burst copy skill, and Lightning to trigger Divine Impact at the right time. Even knowing the risk, he gambled for the rare item. He gripped his weapon tightly. All level 6 stats showed 8,800 combat power. He leaped high into the air. He dove straight toward the monster. He activated Chain Lightning combo. He descended from above. Golden lightning struck the boss violently. The onlookers were stunned by the blinding flash. The thunderous explosion made everyone cover their ears. Sakura panicked, fearing he'd collapse after that strike. She rushed in while the farm owner gawked at the leveled barn. The boss was annihilated, leaving only charred remains. Achang staggered out of the debris. He held up the domain core, showing progress at 6,000, 15,000. The stone was still unpurified, shrouded in thick black aura. They returned to the Adventurer Guild. Xiao Hu was shocked the quest finished so fast, praising their gold-rank team's fame, surpassing private mercenaries. Sakura proudly said all victories, including the boss kill, were A Chang's doing she only observed. Xiaohu doubted it, saying a level 6 rookie couldn't defeat a level 14 boss. They looked at Ah Chang lying exhausted on the chair, drained of strength. Sakura explained he was spent after going all out, but Xiaohu still doubted. After resting, Ah Chang's toned muscles became visible. He said activating divine power for 1 second caused severe backlash, thanked Sakura for saving him, and asked about the core. Xiaohu was astonished to learn they held a rare, high-value domain core. Sakura said she didn't plan to sell it, but to purify it at the Temple Mage Guild. Xiaohu confirmed purification required temple mages using special magic. She said the guild was in East City, promised a referral letter, though worried they were busy with exams, then went inside to prepare. Sakura thanked her politely. Ah Chang was surprised temple mages had to pass exams too. Sakura explained it was a special title with 6 ranks, equivalent to a high-tier crafting profession, allowing creation of relics and potions. Ah Chang was shocked that this system was separate from adventurers. Sakura said they were non-combat races with high status due to crafting skill. He was stunned to hear they could restrict others' level caps. Sakura told of a level 80 warrior hunted down for insulting a temple mage, showing their powerful influence. He pondered, then grew curious about learning that profession. Xiaohu returned, handed them the letter, and wished them luck. Sakura accepted it with a bow. They arrived at the Temple Mage Guild's gate. Ah Chang was amazed by the massive exam crowd. Sakura said many academies and clans sent people though pass rates were low. They lined up, Sakura pulling him along, confident the referral would grant entry. They met an Orcish mage and requested purification of the domain core. He introduced himself as Samuel Whitering, a guild disciple, immediately refusing due to the exam day. Sakura presented the Adventurer Guild's referral letter. Samuel irritably said the letter was useless and told them to leave. Ah Chang replied, demanding respect and asserting their right to enter. Samuel sneered, saying only his word mattered, and no one could enter before exams ended. Ah Chang was about to act, but Sakura stopped him, warning not to offend temple mages. At that moment, Guildmaster Dake appeared and asked what was happening. Everyone bowed in greeting. Samuel reported that the two insisted on purifying a core during the exams. Ah Chang bluntly asked why they were refused despite having a referral letter. Samuel raised his voice, but Dake stopped him, saying the exam day left no time, and suggested they return later. Ah Chang, though annoyed, politely asked if there was another way. Dake thought, then said only by joining the Saman exam and taking first place could he help, mocking that warriors weren't qualified. The crowd laughed. Ah Chang calmly asked for the exact exam requirements. The onlookers mocked him, calling him foolish for not knowing the basics. Dake explained that Saman meant mage, one needed magical aptitude, and had to pass potion brewing and artifact-making exams to reach White Edge rank. Ah Chang said he understood and asked to borrow Dake's staff. Dake was slightly surprised by the strange request. Samuel grew angry, calling it absurd and threatening to throw him out. Ah Chang firmly said he'd prove his qualification. Dake silently observed. After a pause, he laughed and agreed to lend the staff to see what the boy could do. Sakura worriedly asked his real plan. He just smiled and told her to trust him. She nodded, saying he always fulfilled his words. Samuel warned him not to damage the guildmaster's staff as Dake handed it over. He raised his left hand behind him, then suddenly slapped Samuel across the face. Samuel's face flushed red with humiliation as he turned away. Ah Chang calmly tested the staff, believing he could copy a mage's spell through it. The system announced absolute copy activated, allowing one skill copy at a time, current stored, Heaven Earth Rend. He focused on the spell Radiant Glory, which emitted blinding light depending on mana power. The system confirmed successful copy. Samuel blushed in rage, calling him a freak. Ah Chang shone with golden light, holding the glowing staff, asking if casting the spell proved his qualification. Samuel was stunned to sense genuine mana waves. Ah Chang told Sakura to close her eyes. She obeyed as he chanted Radiant Glory. Dake instantly created a mind barrier to shield against the light. He noted that this basic spell could blind normal people but not pierce the shield. The system suggested using strongest body to boost mana, he accepted. His mana surged from 150 to 3,500. A blinding flash engulfed the hall, leaving Dake speechless. The magic barrier shattered. The entire area was flooded with light. Ah Chang calmly looked at the guildmaster and told him to witness it. He asked if he was now qualified for the Salmon exam. Dake covered his eyes and confirmed he fully met the requirements. The next day, the exam took place at the plaza. The crowd buzzed about a human joining the Orcish Temple Mage test, an unprecedented event. He felt uneasy under their stares, and Sakura explained they doubted him since no human had ever joined before. He was surprised to learn he was the first, Sakura affirmed it. She explained that the human alchemist profession corresponded to Orcish temple mages, similar to the elf race's awakening priests. Although not forbidden, each race guarded its own craft. Entering another race's profession was seen as provocation. He was frustrated at being misunderstood, but Sakura advised him to just follow his belief since the law allowed it. On the stand, someone cautiously asked Duff's opinion. It was Earthspeaker, the vice guildmaster, worried that a human competing might offend Orcish mages and doubting his crafting skill. Duff replied he'd lent the boy his staff. This exam would prove his ability. He said he was curious, having once felt a rare magical shockwave from the boy. He compared that potential to the genius temple mage Kevin. Bigger laughed mockingly, calling the comparison absurd and saying the boy wasn't fit to be Kevin's disciple's disciple. Duff recalled Kevin's new disciple named Fu Lin and asked if she was also competing. A cat-eared girl reading nearby was mentioned, praised as the favorite to win, said by Kevin himself to surpass his own talent in youth. The crowd buzzed upon hearing Fu Lin was a prodigy who'd brewed a sacred potion last year, making her a guaranteed top contender. She frowned and closed her book, annoyed by the noise around. Bigger announced the exam start, asking non-candidates to leave and contestants to find their numbered stations. Achang checked his number with Sakura. Finding himself number 15, she encouraged him to clear the first round. He waved goodbye and went to find his assigned spot. Reaching it, he saw number 15 marked for him. Right beside him was Fu Lin. He introduced himself, briefly comparing her sharp cat-like features to Sakura's. Fu Lin coldly mocked that humans joined just to seek attention. Chiang inwardly fumed at her arrogance. Duff announced the first task, brewing basic stamina potions, a fundamental priest skill. Suddenly, a stone platform rose from the ground, startling Chiang. Fu Lin smirked, saying it was a crafting table and advising him to quit. Quan retorted sharply, asking what that had to do with her. He noticed the crafting tables here were manual, unlike the automated ones from his old world. Duff asked the vice master to reveal the test. Bigger stepped forward. He struck his staff to the ground. A magic array spread through the area. The audience gasped at the sight. The task appeared. Brew 3 basic stamina potions within 1 hour. Chiang hesitated, thinking to watch others, but everyone else looked confused too. Duff said this round tested the ability to pick the correct 9 ingredients. One mistake meant failure. Ella commented the challenge would weed out most weak candidates. He grew nervous, seeing many uncertain about the ingredients. Fu Lin sneered that mages who couldn't recall basic herbs were useless. Akong saw her finish choosing swiftly and felt admiration. She coldly drew her magic staff, determined to take first place to fulfill her master's command. The crowd cheered her speed, saying the test seemed too easy. Fu Lin gathered and ground the materials with her staff. Her movements were smooth and precise. Achang admitted she was arrogant but undeniably skilled. He activated Heavenly Eye to imitate her motions. Duff and Bigger praised Kevin's eye for talent, saying Fu Lin could become a great temple mage. She blended the ingredients into a shimmering liquid and opened the potion bottle. She poured the mixture in carefully. Duff closely watched every step. Then came the final stage: condensation, refinement, sealing. This was the hardest part, requiring delicate mana control, but for Fu Lin it was effortless, almost guaranteeing victory. She focused intensely as crystals stabilized in formation. The audience buzzed while Duff noticed Chiang still standing and observing. He wondered why the boy hadn't started yet. Fu Lin completed the condensation step. She declared completion, confident she'd take first place. Duff told everyone to wait and said he'd check all results after time ended. She showed irritation at having to wait. She accidentally met Chiang's gaze. She snapped, calling him a pervert. Chiang deactivated the Heavenly Eye after finishing his analysis. He smiled in thanks, and she mocked him for thanking before doing anything. He linked to the system, choosing full optimization mode for all analyzed movements. The system automatically selected, ground, and fused ingredients as Chiang replicated Fu Lin's actions. Fu Lin was stunned seeing him select, grind, and fuse simultaneously. Bigger was shocked, recognizing Kevin's process simplification technique that required extreme mana control. He began to wonder if the boy's talent rivaled Kevin's. Outside, Sakura anxiously awaited her master's news. She trusted him but still feared Chiang might struggle in the refining phase. Inside, Chiang neared completion as the system optimized, selecting 9 strongest ingredients, finely ground and precisely mixed. He was pleased, feeling like he'd practiced thousands of times and started loving alchemy. The final step required infusing mana to merge all ingredients. Chiang focused deeply, controlling mana precisely until solidification. Fu Lin frowned, fearing he might surpass her and take first place. She suspected he was reenacting Master Kevin's one-breath completion. Bigger and Duff recalled Kevin once produced C-grade quality as a White Rim Mage, a shocking feat. Potion quality ranged from D to S, with B or higher causing anomalies. Bigger remained doubtful, thinking the real test lay in quality, not preparation. Only Blue Rim Mages could make C-grade potions. D-grade was most common. The system explained the ranking, making Chiang realize the huge gap from his world's energy potions. It predicted D-grade results, disappointing him, but he felt it was enough to pass. Fearing defeat if others reached C-grade, he decided to craft in parallel as backup. Suddenly he thought of improving quality mid-process. He realized quality depended on mana strength and attribute. Changing both could alter the outcome. He recalled he could boost power via the mana pool, but changing attributes was hard since his stat was only 150. The audience grew confused at his delay, and Bigger mocked his inexperience in key steps. Fu Lin was puzzled why he hadn't finished despite meeting conditions. A contestant asked why Chang didn't end the process. The man warned prolonged casting would scatter mana. Fu Lin snapped, calling him stupid for not understanding shaman principles. Chiang pondered how to turn normal mana into an elemental type. He recalled the thunder attribute of the Divine King's mace and decided to borrow its power. Duff noticed his mana fluctuating wildly. Bigger sneered that he was about to fail from mana collapse. Chiang took a deep breath and summoned the divine being through the contract seal. He commanded, "Grant me your power." Everyone was shocked as his mana suddenly surged violently. Chiang rejoiced. Realizing it was the thunder attribute, brief but enough to boost power, the system displayed new stats, effects, and duration. He shouted and began crafting. Every step went smoothly. A bright blue liquid gradually formed in the vial. Chiang, tired, wiped his forehead and confirmed he'd finished the stamina potion. He was shocked at how much energy the attribute change consumed, worrying if he could beat the cat girl. Picker was amazed he succeeded despite chaotic mana. Duff suspected interference and asked what he had done. He looked around in confusion, not knowing what had happened. When the exam ended, an announcement ordered everyone to stop or be disqualified. Duff and Pick split to grade Duff from one side, Pick from the other. Opening the first vial, the faint scent vanished quickly, barely meeting minimum quality. That contestant rejoiced, thanking Heaven and Chairman Duff. On Bigger's side, he examined while frowning. The potion was murky and burnt, smelling, a sign of forced failure. That kind could cause backlash, making the contestant collapse. The atmosphere split. Some cheered success, others despaired. Bigger called Fu Lin forward, asking about her teacher Kevin. She politely said her master was well, pleasing the vice chairman. A gentle fragrance spread through the room. Everyone marveled at her potion's quality. She smiled in satisfaction. Bigger praised non-stop upon seeing the clear, rare C-grade potion. Fu Lin felt relieved she hadn't failed her teacher. The audience discussed, saying she rivaled genius Kevin. Chiang was also surprised by how good her potion was. Duff called Chiang forward and asked his thoughts. He replied humbly. Bigger sneered that his potion was likely the lowest grade. Duff stayed fair and began inspection. The vial was opened. A surge of energy spread, drawing everyone's attention. Lightning flashed, making Chiang smile in delight. The whole hall fell silent in shock. Bigger panicked, realizing it was an anomaly, a sign of B-grade or higher potion. Fu Lin froze, unable to believe it since even her master had only reached that level. Duff gaped at the glowing pure liquid. Bigger admitted his mistake, acknowledging Chiang might surpass Kevin. Chiang panted as Duff declared him first place with a B-grade potion. Outside the guild gate, Sakura waited anxiously. She muttered nervously, enduring people's curious stares. At that moment, Chiang stepped out. Sakura rushed over, bombarding him with questions. He calmly said it was done, and she sighed in relief. She asked about the results. He said he ranked first, making Sakura overjoyed while bystanders stared in awe. Then Chiang returned to meet Duff, who wondered why such talent only sought to purify a Mind Stone. Duff explained the Domain Mind Stone was a rare drop from Boss Hagmar, boosting loot and experience. Chiang confirmed he needed it to level up. Duff agreed to help due to his excellence. Bigger suddenly asked who had taught Chiang alchemy, suspecting a hidden master. He simply replied he had learned entirely on his own. Duff and Bigger were stunned by his self-taught genius. Duff sighed, led him to purify the Mind Stone, and prepared to grant a special artifact. Fu Lin stood behind, drowning in bitterness and inferiority. She silently apologized to her teacher for losing to someone she once looked down on. Sakura was stunned when Kevin appeared. She stared at Fu Lin, seemingly realizing the girl's true identity. Chiang noticed her odd reaction and asked Sakura what was going on. She just smiled, saying it was nothing, only a brief distraction. Chiang reminded everyone to continue the journey after the ritual. Fu Lin clenched her teeth in frustration. The group entered the ritual room where Duff placed the stone at the table's center. He chanted to summon the 4 elements for purification. Bigger told Chiang the stone carried evil energy, requiring Duff's special rite. The chant echoed throughout the room. Achang was amazed at the difficulty, and Sakura explained it was an advanced shaman incantation. Duff finished the final part, using water and wind to dispel the dark aura. He declared the ritual complete as light flared and the stone was reborn. He handed the Mind Stone to Achang, telling him to infuse mana to activate it. Achang nodded gratefully. Duff said the Mind Stone had 3 tiers, and even the mid-tier carried great risk. Achang was shocked by its value, and Duff confirmed it was both rare and hard to tame. Duff advised having a priest in the team for safety and asked about his party. Achang said he traveled alone, while Sakura refused to join to avoid splitting rewards. Duff and Bigger were stunned he planned to conquer the domain solo. Achang activated the stone, opening a spatial gate before him. Duff explained the rules. The domain could be entered twice and death meant ejection. Bigger warned of fatal risk. Achang just smiled, saying he wouldn't fall so easily. Sakura glared at Bigger for jinxing it. Sakura handed him a pouch of potions she had prepared earlier, telling him to use them to survive. Achang accepted with gratitude, praised her thoughtfulness, and stepped into the gate. Duff asked in surprise how he'd cast spells without a staff. He raised his hand, declining help, implying he could handle it himself. He declared himself a level 6 warrior, fully equipped with a combat power of 8,800. Sakura watched anxiously, silently praying for his safe return. Bigger was shocked he was a warrior, while Duff, though calm, was still surprised. He silently wondered how far Achang's potential could reach. Inside, the system reported he had entered the dark forest, and he vowed to clear it completely. Eerie noises echoed from deep within the shadows. A pack of level 10 fire element dark wolves gnawed at corpses, ferociously violent. Achang observed from afar, realizing delay meant encirclement, so he chose to strike first. He opted for melee combat, rushing in with a blade strike. The system enhanced his right arm, boosting attack power as he prepared coldly. He activated lightning skill, burning the wolves and draining most of their HP. With each kill, the system added 500 EXP. Achang rejoiced at the rich EXP, realizing the Mind Stone was truly valuable. He planned to use all 3 runs in the domain to level up twice before leaving. The system warned the paralysis effect ended, reducing enemy vulnerability. He was surprised how quickly it faded, realizing the foes had strong resistance. A wolf lunged, he blocked but barely avoided the blow due to its speed. He gradually noticed strange coordination in their attacks. Another wolf used a corpse to block his view and ambushed from behind. The system showed he was channeling 60% power into both arms, boosting strike force. He slashed fiercely, cutting down 2 monsters in one blow. Thrilled by victory, Achang saw his progress bar surpass 7,000 points. Outside, Duff stood beside Sakura, worriedly watching the gate. He couldn't believe the boy dared to face the domain alone. But Sakura firmly believed he would return safely. Bigger mocked that Achang was overconfident, the type to die from arrogance. Sakura glared at him with clear disgust. At that moment, Achang had cleared all monsters but was clearly exhausted. The system reported severe drops in stamina and mana. He felt his body heavy. Fortunately, he had recovery potions and quickly used one. He drank it in one go, showing his determination not to give up, but he grimaced and spat slightly due to the bitter taste. The system confirmed the potion worked, and he smiled, pressing onward. Outside, the air was quiet. Sakura asked Duff why he hadn't rested yet. He said he couldn't relax while Achang was still inside. He kept recalling Achang's words about being a warrior. Someone who was both a warrior and a B-grade alchemist passing a mage exam was rare. Suddenly, a deep rumble echoed from the gate. Sakura smiled softly, recognizing his familiar sound. The constant noise proved Achang was still alive and fighting. Inside, he charged toward the center, lightning covering the area. His explosive skill wiped out enemies, rapidly boosting experience. After the battle, he wiped his sweat, smiling confidently, ready to advance. Weary, but knowing one last boss fight would level him up. In front of the boss room, he decided to rest and prepare. He leaned against a rock, taking deep breaths to recover energy. While drinking a potion, he grumbled about its awful taste. Once recovered, Achang rose with blazing spirit, weapon ready for battle. The great door slowly opened, revealing glowing red eyes inside. Without hesitation, he stepped through into the arena. A massive, muscular creature blocked his path, its burning eyes fixed on Achang, filled with killing intent. He felt overwhelming pressure, far beyond any boss before. The system identified it as the Mind Stone area leader. Suddenly, the monster vanished from sight. He tensed, alert to all directions. In a flash, it appeared before him, striking a fatal blow. Achang was horrified. The speed and power exceeded all estimates. A piercing shriek rang out as it lunged closer. His body grew heavy, affected by a special skill. The intimidation paralysis effect numbed his reflexes. The demon pressed its advantage, preparing another attack. Achang struggled to regain control amid mental paralysis. At that moment, the ring on his hand shone brightly. A surge of energy blasted the monster backward. The system reported control restored. He counterattacked in fury. He sensed pure energy from the ring dispelling the debuff. The dark fiend hesitated, startled by the phenomenon. Chang smiled, declaring he wouldn't go down easily. The demon's deep voice admitted his strength and resolve. Chang was shocked that the foe could speak. He had thought they were just mindless beasts. The enemy sneered, claiming superiority over humans. It vanished again, repeating its trick. Chang quickly predicted its familiar move. He regretted not bringing the gear set for countering such attacks. The demon lunged again, its second strike fast and brutal. He blocked it, but his weapon was heavily damaged system flashing red. Thick red smoke filled his vision, heightening tension. The next attack came suddenly, nearly impossible to guard. A beam of light flashed straight toward Chang's forehead. The ground quaked violently as if collapsing. He lost balance and fell amid the tremors. His body was thrown far from the original spot. He struggled to stand using his sword, breathing heavily. Looking down, he saw blood gushing non-stop. The bleeding effect drained his HP steadily without treatment. With no antidote, he had to kill the enemy before collapsing. He knew retreat meant losing his chance to level up, filling him with fury. His final decision, fight to the end, life or death be damned. He sprang up, unleashing a lightning combo at the foe. Chang shouted, challenging his enemy to withstand the blow. The strike hit but caused far less damage than expected. To his shock, the monster remained unharmed. It grounded all electricity, nullifying the lightning attack. Chang froze, realizing it had total lightning resistance. The creature walked closer, eyes disdainful, not even using its ultimate move. He wondered about the blood sacrifice art it mentioned but didn't understand. Before he could think further, the enemy closed in with a fatal strike. Its blade swung like a raging storm. A thunderous explosion shook his entire body. He fell, pain tearing through him like being crushed. The foe sneered, mocking his weak strength and gear. It coldly declared the next strike would end everything, but just as it prepared, it suddenly froze. A strange sensation made it highly alert. Chang smirked as his body glowed crimson like blood. The monster was shocked he used a skill only its kind possessed. Chang explained he had seized the moment to counterattack. He had copied the blood sacrifice technique, triggering temporary enhancement. His appearance shifted with demonic traits, aura surging. The system displayed numerous buffs and an energy overload warning. The dark fiend was stunned by the new power radiating from him. Chang confidently declared nothing was impossible. His figure vanished instantly. He reappeared before the foe at super speed. The monster was caught off guard, unable to react. A powerful punch to its abdomen made it stagger. Chang unleashed a flurry of lightning strikes, completely overwhelming it. The system warned the boss's weapon was severely damaged. It still mocked his wild attacks. Chang stayed calm, knowing he couldn't heal under blood sacrifice, only go all in. The demon dropped its weapon, voice dripping with contempt. Its body glowed red, laughing that it too possessed blood sacrifice. It confirmed it could use the same art as Chang. It lunged, mocking that Chang's version was a cheap imitation. But suddenly, Chang shifted tactics, firing lightning outward. He reminded it he knew it could discharge lightning through its weapon. Then the demon realized Chang had aimed for the weapon all along. His true target was the blood it had offered during the blood sacrifice. When it looked back, its weapon had already turned to ash. Untouched, it still trembled before the man's terrifying aura. Chang said coldly that he himself was now the weapon. The boss's voice quivered, horrified as it called his name. Before it could finish, Chang sliced it in half, system confirmed, boss defeated, trial complete. The blood sacrifice state faded, and his body returned to normal. He clutched himself in pain as if being torn apart. The system announced a reward, a new weapon dropped from the boss, leaving him shocked yet delighted. The weapon auto-equipped, filling the slot left vacant. He obtained Zuewu Kuodao, a deep forest weapon that caused critical hits and permanent bleeding, greatly satisfying him. The system announced settlement soon, suggesting continued battle for plus 150% EXP. Tempted, he decided to keep fighting. His level rose to 7. Power surged, and both skills and gear advanced, marking a new phase. He noticed that even after leveling up, blood sacrifice's after effects remained the price of power. Recalling his promise to Sakura, he hesitated between stopping and risking more. Rationality won his 7-day leveling plan mattered most. He stepped forward decisively, believing those who fear pain never grow strong. The system confirmed his choice. Chang returned to the starting gate, silently apologizing to Sakura for the wait. Outside, Sakura paced anxiously in worry. Even Duff couldn't hide tension. Half a day had passed without Chang emerging. He reassured Sakura, guessing the boy was grinding more EXP. Still, doubt lingered. Continuous combat without supplies was perilous. Sakura nervously recalled her promise to leave after the first stage, yet her master's thunder still echoed. Bigger appeared, sneering that Chang was hiding in fear. Dark Flick warned him to watch his mouth, but he kept mocking belief in a mid-tier human warrior as foolish. He continued jeering that if A-Chiang hadn't returned, he must have died from lack of potions. Sakura calmly replied her master still lived since thunder still roared, ordering him to shut up. Duff was surprised by the strong aura emanating from the girl. Bigger provoked further, saying if A-Chiang died, Sakura would be to blame. Sakura shouted angrily, forbidding any more insults. Everyone froze at the killing intent in her eyes. An elder struck his staff, signaling silence. All held their breath, awaiting the human's return, demanding Bigger leave. He left reluctantly, smirking, hoping to see A-Chiang's failure prove him right. After he departed, Duff silently mocked Bigger for not sensing that lethal aura. He judged Sakura's hidden strength as unfathomable. Suddenly, the space gate trembled violently, stunning everyone. Sakura noticed her master's familiar thunder had stopped. Bigger sneered that her faith had ended as well. Then cracks appeared across the portal. From it came roars and thick black mist. The crowd panicked. Dark fiends were breaking the seal. The three readied stances, shocked that demons could strike back outside. Two crimson eyes gleamed in the darkness. From the smoke, A-Chiang stepped out, battered, half-deformed. He still smiled, apologizing for the wait, reporting he'd cleared 3 stages and reached level 9. Sakura rushed to catch him, eyes brimming with tears. Duff and Bigger stood frozen, unable to believe a human advanced so rapidly. Sakura held A-Chiang, asking Duff to heal him. Data showed. Level 9, Warrior, Fox Spirit Armor, wielding Jewu Quo Dao, skills Crimson Thunder, Chain Leap, copied Blood Sacrifice Art, Power 14E500. His body began regenerating, breathing, stabilizing. Healing light from Duff and Bigger enveloped him. Both were amazed he survived such extreme damage. A-Chiang thanked them, but Sakura scolded him for breaking his word he had promised to try once, not risk his life. He awkwardly apologized, explaining the EXP was too valuable, while Sakura sternly said safety was paramount. Duff approached to confirm the rumor of him clearing 3 rounds. A-Chiang calmly admitted it. Sweating, Duff said he wouldn't have believed it without seeing him level 3 times, praising him as both mad and brilliant. He recalled that when A-Chiang emerged, the demonic aura was so intense it nearly shattered the barrier, calling him both a crafting genius and a reinforced warrior. Duff concluded that even Kevin hadn't reached A-Chiang's level. Bigger stayed silent and coughed lightly. He placed a hand on his chest, bowing to apologize for underestimating A-Chiang and begged forgiveness. A-Chiang waved it off while Sakura shot him a glare, thinking he was foolish to realize it so late. Bigger explained they had used Fuguang Illumination, the strongest mid-tier healing spell, yet it couldn't erase all injuries and left hidden damage. Fuguang Illumination was a famed restoration magic that could heal nearly all physical harm within limits. Duff warned that A-Chiang's body had nearly collapsed muscles and meridians fractured a few minutes later and he'd have died, advising against using that forbidden art again, or it might hinder evolution. A-Chiang was stunned, realizing the blood sacrifice art had made him lose control and left grave side effects, unsure how to fix it. Suddenly, he spotted a red-green eye watching from the old door. He froze in horror, recognizing it as a real eye. Sakura, seeing him panting, asked worriedly. He wiped his sweat, saying he was just tired, explaining the demon's blood sacrifice damaged both body and mind, and vowed never to use it again. Duff handed him a pouch of medicine, instructing him to take it daily and meditate for full absorption. Bigger, recognizing the rare formula, asked if Duff was sure about giving it to him. A-Chiang accepted and bowed in gratitude to the guildmaster. Duff revealed it was a potion crafted by Kevin, with immense recovery power, and advised meeting him directly. He said Kevin would likely take A-Chiang as a disciple, since both were prodigies, and Kevin was one of the few who mastered the law of legendary ruin. Sakura, astonished, asked about its rank, while A-Chiang was curious about its meaning. Bigger was surprised he'd never heard of the concept of laws. Duff explained. They were Heaven-Earth Laws, 12 hidden principles of destruction within secret realms, accessible only to those with great aptitude, capable of world-ending power, long lost since ancient times. Kevin was called a genius because 10 years ago he comprehended the 12th ranked law, Howling Wind Hall, which elevated his magic and let him fuse law energy into potions, reaching unmatched mastery. Duff added that Kevin could fully heal the deep injuries in A-Chiang's body. Hearing this, both Sakura and A-Chiang were overjoyed and confirmed it again. Duff gave him a letter of introduction, saying Kevin would meet him thanks to old ties. A-Kong received the letter and medicine, thanking him sincerely. Duff advised preparing rare items as tribute for the meeting. He waved goodbye, and Sakura bowed in thanks to the guildmaster. After they left, Bigger asked if Duff might be overestimating A-Chiang. He reminded that the gifted potion was a rare B-grade elixir, costing countless materials from Kevin. Duff simply smiled, saying he was investing in the boy's future. Bigger argued investing in a human was risky, few survived long, even if gifted. Duff replied history once recorded a man who conquered a Mindstone domain alone, so A Chang was no exception. Bigger suddenly remembered who that man was. It was the divine king Goses, founder of the Orochi race in ancient times. On their way out of the city, A Chang asked Sakura if she knew where Mage Kevin lived. She nodded, saying the man lived far away, but many quests along the way could help him level up, however. When Chang asked, she explained those quests required a team. After speaking, they arrived at a crowded area. Chang was amazed by the bustling scene. Sakura said this was the mission hub. She explained such zones appeared randomly, gathering many adventurers. Team quests offered better rewards. Chio excitedly compared it to a quest market, wanting to test his level 9 strength. The three split up to explore the area. A group was recruiting a warrior or mage with power over 6,000 for a rare quest, missing one member. The team had a long-haired thief 6,200, an archer 6,230, a female priest 6,100, and a blonde mage 6,300, all level 15. The crowd discussed how difficult the quest was. No one dared take it for 2 days, yet the team kept waiting. One member grew impatient, suggesting they switch to another quest. The blonde mage got angry, saying the reward was blood rose, a highly valuable rare herb. Blood rose greatly enhanced recovery and was highly sought by alchemists. The archer worried that without enough members, the system wouldn't accept the quest. At that moment, Chang approached, volunteering despite being low level, claiming he could tank. The group curiously asked his level, guessing at least 13 to survive. Chang calmly replied he was only level 9 but strong enough to push through, shocking them all. The blonde mage, thinking he was joking, nearly attacked but got angrier seeing Chang serious. The quest gate started a 10-minute countdown. The crowd urged the leader to choose quickly before missing the chance. One suggested accepting Chang just to fill the slot and try their luck. The blonde mage angrily agreed, spat, and warned him not to act alone. Chang happily nodded, excited for his first team quest to gain combat experience. The team was stunned to learn Chang had never done a group quest before. The five entered the quest area together. The screen showed a level 16 quest deep forest rhino, power 7600, high physical resistance, weak to lightning, making them hide nervously. The wrong info angered the team. The archer worried it was too hard. They reassured themselves they could use the return horn to retreat if needed. The return horn was a rare, valuable item usually sold at auctions. The group noticed Chang was gone and panicked, searching. The long-haired thief said he'd seen Chang behind them, fearing he'd cause trouble. Chang suddenly unleashed lightning chains, explosions echoing through the forest. The whole team froze, unable to believe what they saw. Chang calmly said the beast was easier than the dark phantom at Shinshiling. Then the boss death notice appeared. Everyone was shocked that Chang had soloed the boss. Chang smiled, revealing he was level 9, a warrior, with strong gear and 14,500 power. The quest was level 16, exceeding normal difficulty. The team regrouped, coordinating to clear the smaller monsters. The blonde mage and thief admired Chang, realizing he could finish the quest alone. They saw him charge ahead, striking swiftly and precisely, knowing enemy weak points like a veteran. The priest was amazed she never needed to heal Chang. Fighting with him was effortless. The archer doubted Chang's true identity, asking the leader, who dodged the question vaguely. Chang fought while noting this quest was weaker than Xin Shiling, with monsters lower than level 11 dark phantoms. The new boss Demon Vine Tree was level 16, weak to fire and attacked with poisonous vines. He dodged skillfully, using Heavenly Eye to analyze its weak points and toxin. After a critical hit, the boss fell, dropping Blood Rosebud, a rare, strong healing herb. Chang warned the team to prepare for the main boss and advised the mage to ready fire spells. The blonde mage responded, casting fire magic and declaring his moment to shine. Chang warned that the vine attack carried poison and told everyone to evade. Surrounded by venomous thorns, the group realized Chang knew monsters too well for a rookie. They doubted a level 9 could be so strong, guessing he was a hidden master. The blonde mage raised his staff, preparing the final blow. He unleashed a ring of fire that burned the boss completely. As night fell, the group sat by the fire. The long-haired one praised the success thanks to their warrior. The female priest secretly felt moved, sensing Chang's unusual aura. The blonde mage began talking seriously, introducing himself as Duike Ta. He admitted he had underestimated Chang but now wanted friendship, while Chang still claimed to be a newbie. Duike Ta smirked skeptically as Chang stayed modest. He offered water and brought up the mission board, but Chang seemed clueless. Duike Ta suspected he was pretending ignorance and felt teased. He explained the mission board recorded the first team's achievement, granting great rewards and guild fame. Chang casually compared it to the global ranking system he had seen. Duike Ta revealed their team was just a farming squad, while he belonged to the elite unit of guild quiz. Chang kept feigning ignorance, making him irritated enough to switched straight to the main topic. He mentioned a level 18 quest involving a dark phantom in the swamp, extremely hard and unbeaten, and invited A Chang. Hearing Dark Phantom, A Chang became interested and asked about the reward. Ta seized the chance, saying a first clear would grant huge rewards, and invited him to meet the captain. A Chang considered it seriously, seeing it as a promotion chance before upgrading gear. He asked if a level 9 could join. Ta confirmed it was allowed under level 18. A Chang agreed, but set 2 conditions that surprised Ta, who nodded to negotiate. Inwardly, Ta saw this as his big breakthrough victory with A Chang's help. A Chang stated his terms. All first clear experience was his, and he'd pick rewards first, only taking what he needed. Ta was stunned, thinking the terms too steep and needing team approval. The group decided to finish the current quest first, rest, then discuss it later. They left the area. Everyone praised the captain's fire strike that hit the boss's weak point, easing their victory. The distractor also contributed, but Ta still flattered A Chang, saying he took 10 seconds to aim right. He admitted all his tactics were learned from a true master, the one truly worthy of respect. A Chang took the blood rosebud, reminding them to keep only what they needed. He told them to disband and share rewards later. Everyone agreed and thanked the captain. As they left, Ta invited A Chang to meet Xiaowei, and A Chang said he'd inform his teammates first. He found Sakura, who wiped her sweat and praised how quickly he got invited, saying she needed level 30 for that. She advised him to go, calling it a rare chance, while she'd return to town to check information. A Chang accepted the potion and money she gave, agreeing to meet at the guild if they didn't reunite. He left and she smiled, wishing him luck. Once he was gone, Sakura's expression changed as she decided to investigate Kevin the Genius with Wind Law affinity. She concluded killing him required a new strategy. At the same time, Ta reported to Xiaowei, who suspiciously asked about A Chang's conditions and level. Xiaowei, a level 18 Great Shield warrior with 7,600 power, found it hard to believe a level 9 could lead an elite level 16 team. Ta insisted A Chang was beyond his level, having helped him finish a quest and obtain the Blood Rosebud, proving his strength. The deputy leader, a level 17 dual-blade fire warrior, sneered that a level 9 fighter didn't deserve to join the Great Shan Yang team. Ta blushed, defending A Chang's strength and asking Xiaowei to meet him personally. Xiaowei asked if the man had arrived. He replied A Chang was waiting outside, prompting more mockery from the foul-mouthed one. Victor grew angry, vowing to make that mocker regret it. Xiaowei ordered him to bring A Chang in, and Victor thanked him before obeying. He pulled A Chang inside, urging him to hurry. A Chang introduced himself as a level 9 warrior eager to learn. The group exchanged surprised looks. Then they all laughed at his seemingly weak appearance. Ta pulled A Chang aside, telling him to ignore the insults. Xiaowei sipped beer and directly asked if he could guarantee a first clear. A Chang confidently said yes, but with a condition. Xiaowei curiously asked what it was. He said he wanted to be captain and take command. Xiaowei was startled, while the foul-mouthed man shouted that he was overstepping. Victor gently warned A Chang not to push too far, but he calmly said it was the best way to win. Xiaowei explained they had failed 6 times and lost over 2 gold. A Chang called it a waste and promised victory if allowed to lead. The crowd grew furious, demanding punishment for his arrogance. Xiaowei stared at A Chang, agreeing to his condition but warning he'd be dealt with harshly if they failed. Many were shocked, but A Chang confidently vowed to win with proper coordination. Some objected, doubting a level 9 in skill, but Xiaowei said they had no choice but to try. The foul-mouthed man growled that A Chang was a fraud and demanded Victor's removal. Xiaowei sighed, recalling how the team had been mocked for repeated failures. He said if they succeeded this time, the team's honor would return, and the risk was worth it. He faced A Chang, warning that if he lied, he'd pay dearly. The next morning, the team arrived at the quest point. The crowd recognized the Great Shan Yang team and murmured seeing A Chang leading. An Egyptian dog mocked the leadership change, saying the team was wasting guild funds. Victor whispered that was their rival leader from the Dog clan, and though rude, he wasn't wrong since their team was in decline. Both Xiaowei and the members felt heavy pressure. A Chang just nodded, signaling he understood. He stepped forward, telling the dog group to move aside. The rival grew angry but smirked, waiting to see him fail. A Kong confirmed the quest, crossed the gate, smiled challengingly, and declared he'd win on the first try. The whole team entered battle mode. A Kyung recalled Victor's words about the swamp's dark phantom, confident his heavenly eye would help him slay monsters easily and create a stunning victory. The system displayed the quest swamp of shadows, level 18, requiring 12 to 17 players, none above level 18. As soon as they entered the area, Xiaowei immediately asked for the battle plan. A Chang opened the interface, saying he already had a strategy and would activate solo experience mode as agreed. Xiaowei agreed but warned that failure would bring serious consequences since the team's reputation was under scrutiny. A Chang confirmed that enabling exclusive mode meant all experience would belong to him. Xiaowei accepted and ordered everyone to obey his commands. A Chang briefly agreed. Du secretly grew resentful, planning to teach a Chang a lesson. A Chang operated the interface, activating the hard mode Victor had mentioned. He knew this mode tripled rewards and experience, allowing rapid leveling. The system announced hard mode enabled monsters stronger, but rewards tripled. The team stared at each other in shock. Murmurs spread among them. Protests erupted, calling it suicidal. Victor panicked, asking if he had pressed the wrong button. The foul-mouthed man seized the chance to scold a Chang for recklessness. He laughed smugly. Many were disappointed, while Ju was thrilled to see a Chang discredited. Ru blew his final whistle mockingly, saying the rookie had wasted a treasure and should quit early. A Chang calmly replied he had calculated everything. Hard mode was manageable with Heavenly Eye and proper teamwork. The foul-mouthed man shouted that A Chang was risking everyone's lives for selfish gain. At that moment, Heavenly Eye opened. A Chang noted the swamp's damp terrain and monsters weak to lightning. Level 18 crocodiles appeared, thick-armored, weak to fire and lightning. Attacking in pairs, he could use water's conductivity to counterattack. Heavenly Eye analyzed optimal tactics, giving him full control. Du screamed in panic, forbidding others from provoking two at once. Xiaowei began doubting whether A Chang was truly as capable as rumored. A Kong gave a firm command, declaring he would conquer hard mode on the first try. He ordered the fire mages to get ready. Victor volunteered, trusting the new commander. The fire element team united, refusing to retreat in shame. The entire team fought with full coordination. A Qiang remained calm, waiting for the crocodiles to close in. Xiaowei shouted a warning 6 monsters were attacking together. A Qiang unleashed chain lightning, wiping them out, then ordered all fire mages to strike 1 meter ahead. The mages focused their firepower as commanded. A massive explosion echoed through the swamp. The crocodiles were charred and scattered across the ground. Victor was stunned, asking how he blocked all 6 at once. A Qiang explained his skill-weakened enemies, interrupted their abilities, doubled damage, and combined with fire magic for resonance, all guided by Heavenly Eye. The team cheered, impressed by his flawless tactics, their trust and admiration growing. Xiaowei was astonished, finding it hard to believe a level 9 could do that and suspecting A Chang's true identity. Ju trembled, claiming A Chang was just lucky, earning ridicule for jealousy. Victor sternly told Ju to shut up and stop causing trouble. Ju angrily challenged Victor to repeat himself. Qian ignored them, leading the team deeper into the swamp. Xiaowei urged everyone to follow orders and move quickly. They left Ju behind, forcing him to run after them. Xiaowei ordered everyone to stay close to the captain to complete the trial. After half an hour, they reached the swamp's central zone. The group hid and observed. Victor asked for strategy as a Qiang activated Heavenly Eye to analyze. Ju interrupted, warning that dark phantoms in hard mode were far deadlier, threatening revenge if a Qiang failed. Victor snapped back, saying thanks to A Chang's tactics, the team had suffered almost no losses. Ju retorted, stressing he was vice-captain and demanding Victor choose sides. Xiaowei shouted for them to stop arguing so A Chang could focus. Heavenly Eye completed analysis. A Chang located the exit at the swamp's end, needing only 1 person to lure monsters while the team crossed. He sighed in relief at its simplicity. The tool provided detailed data on depth, area, and the shortest safe route. Heavenly Eye upgraded, allowing him to instantly map the optimal path. A warning appeared. 15 dark phantoms detected must lure them using chain lightning in the thunder zone, then attack their weak points at the marked spot. A Chang turned to Ju, warning that if he stayed hostile, he should leave, as cooperation was vital. He stressed that as captain, Ju must obey his orders. Ju argued, but Xiaowei cut in, ordering silence until the mission ended. Ju could only mutter curses in frustration. A Chang recalled his past weakness and fear of foul-mouthed bullies. He realized only strength could silence others, and he was no longer the same. A Chang stood and announced they had to cross the swamp to reach the next zone. Xiaowei added he had once found a path in the middle, but it was guarded by dark phantoms. A Chang offered to lure all the phantoms himself so the team could pass safely. Victor and Xiaowei worried it was too risky since they didn't know the enemy's number. Ju sneered, calling the idea foolish and saying a Qiang could bear the consequences alone. A Qiang insisted it was the safest way, saying he knew the terrain and depth perfectly. He shot Ju a cold, unreadable glance. A Chang drew his sword, declaring he would not only lure but also wipe out all phantoms to clear the path. The team froze as he silently turned away. He ordered them to hold formation and wait for his signal. Then he stepped into the swamp. A chilling sensation spread. but he didn't flinch, just found it more disgusting than expected. He discovered the damp environment was ideal for his lightning skills. Ju asked Xiaowei about his real strength. Xiaowei said he didn't know, but trusted his aura. Victor added that level didn't define power, just follow orders. Standing in the swamp center, a Qiang thought 15 dark phantoms were nothing but a warm-up. He had barely moved when trouble appeared. Heavenly Eye identified, Dark Phantom Swamp Devourer, level 18, weak to lightning, ambush type. A Qiang grew excited, taunting the monsters to reveal themselves. He spun and slashed the first strike. One blow shattered a monster, which then fled into the mud. He realized they were skilled at hiding, retreating after being hit. Using Chain Lightning Jump, he exploited the conductive mud to strike their weak points. The monsters all surfaced across the swamp. The system reported, all hostility focused on A Qiang. He smiled, ready to retreat and lead them away. With his strongest body skill, he ran through the swamp as if on solid ground. Before leaving, he told Xiaowei to proceed along the planned route. The team was amazed he could pull all enemies yet move so easily, convinced victory was assured with a Qiang. Victor mocked Ju for doubting the captain. Ju awkwardly admitted his mistake. Xiwei immediately took command, assigning Victor to lead the way. The group began following the set route. A Qiang continued dragging the monsters to his chosen kill zone. He stopped and coldly declared he would end them here. Combining sword strikes with lightning for maximum damage, he raised his blade. Lightning flashed, tearing across the sky. The monsters surged out but were instantly annihilated, leaving their comrades terrified. A Qiang, satisfied, said there was no time for fear. Cheers erupted as Xiaowei's team escaped successfully. One member praised a Qiang as the key factor helping them become the first team to cross the swamp. Victor appeared, reporting the boss was just ahead. Some agreed, thinking the boss couldn't be more dangerous than what they'd just faced. The team grew eager to fight, but Xiaowei reminded them not to underestimate it. Ru added they should wait for the captain to ensure safety. His words silenced everyone, reminding them of a Qiang's calm demeanor. One admitted he had doubted before but now fully trusted and suggested waiting for him. Victor and Xiaowei exchanged knowing looks. Xiaowei laughed, patting Victor's shoulder, agreeing that waiting was the smartest move. Victor concurred, saying it was the only way to guarantee success. A Qiang arrived, announcing he had wiped out all the dark phantoms. Hearing there was a final boss, he came immediately, determined to finish the challenge. He was only slightly injured from the previous battle. Everyone was stunned that a level 9 could defeat all dark phantoms. It felt inhuman. Xiaowei moved, planned to recommend a Qiang to the guildmaster. In the dark area, a bird flew around scouting. After observing it suddenly soared upward. The system identified the boss. Swamp Lord, level 18, weak to fire and lightning, could create mud to paralyze foes, with thick HP but vulnerable to poison and bleeding. A Qiang frowned, not seeing the boss gate, and Ju said it didn't affect difficulty. The boss gate depended on the boss's strength, not quest difficulty. A Qiang recalled seeing a gate with strange eyes before, confirming it was a special dark phantom type. Ju ordered a full assault, urging the team forward. But a Qiang told them to stop, and Ju instantly obeyed, waiting for his command. A Kong requested mages and fast members to prepare. The team regrouped and rearranged positions per his instructions. Victor asked for the plan. A Qiang explained, pair mages and ready strong spells, fast members gather status effect items evenly. Some still didn't understand why to collect negative effect items. A Qiang explained the boss had massive HP, so they must use consumables continuously to sustain damage. The mage group had to stay close and time strong spells to interrupt the boss's skills. Xiaowei doubted, wondering how a Qiang could know tactics so precisely. Ju confidently declared victory was certain under A Qiang's command. A Qiang stood and warmed up, signaling battle preparation. Outside, many whispered about the great Shanyang team being led by a human rookie. They noted the red gate warned of danger failure meant losing both fame and life. The Egyptian dog mocked them, calling their move reckless and doomed. He sneered, hating that humans dared enter the beastman ranks, convinced their true weakness would be exposed. The melee fighters closed in on the boss, attacking head-on. Victor wanted to use support magic, but a Qiang stopped him, saying the team wasn't synchronized yet. The boss roared, charging straight at Xiaowei. Xiaowei stepped back, warning of an incoming deadly move. A Qiang ordered them to hold position and signaled the mage squad to fire. Victor's group unleashed a barrage of fire spells, interrupting the boss's attack. Xiaowei understood that the mage's role was to block the boss's deadly skills. A Qiang told the mages to hold position while the rest pressed the assault. No content. Xiaowei led, using Holy Shield to boost attack and temporary defense. The entire team poured their strength into relentless attacks. The powerful strikes severely wounded the monster. Seeing the boss weaken, a Qiang summoned the second mage squad to act. Wind and water spells combined, creating shockwaves that interrupted the boss's next move. Everyone was thrilled, and Ju praised a Qiang as if he had foreseen the outcome. Akyang calmly ordered them to close formation and prepare to finish the boss. After 15 minutes, the system confirmed the Swamp Lord's defeat. The team cheered, becoming the first group to clear the VKFA stage. Shuwei admired him and invited Akyang to join the guild. Ju praised him as their pillar. Akyang received a level-up notice to level 10, with power reaching 45,000. He was satisfied only 2 levels left to reach his goal of level 12 that week. The system announced the Boundless Realm upgrade to level 10, unlocking Divine Selection and granting the Dark Morph armor. Akyang was excited to see the new armor's appearance. The armor automatically equipped itself on him. It was a high-grade, adaptive dark armor, non-tradable, capable of changing form and merging with other gear. Akyang noticed the armor held its form yet adjusted to his will, making him eager to test it further. Victor joked, and Akyang blushed, saying he was just changing gear. Ju flattered him, calling the armor majestic, while Xiaowei hesitantly wanted to ask a favor. Akyang turned coldly, demanding to know what he wanted. Outside, the Egyptian dog group waited to see Great Shan Yang fail. They froze when the system announced Great Shan Yang as the first to clear hard mode in 150 minutes 36 seconds. The Egyptian dog was stunned, unable to believe the result. From the quest gate, the first arm stretched out, signaling the victor's return. All eyes turned to Akyang, murmuring about the human warrior in dark armor who led the record-breaking team. Ju was happy for the attention, but Xiaowei humbly credited Akyang and decided to take him to meet the guildmaster. Victor reported that the whole world was talking about him, leaving Akyang embarrassed by sudden fame. Victor taunted the Egyptian dog, asking if he'd come congratulate them, boasting they set 2 records. The Egyptian dog angrily claimed they wouldn't have won without someone who knew the route. Akyang coldly replied, reminding him of his earlier contemptuous look. The dog changed tone, apologizing and nervously inviting Akyang to cooperate while asking his real name. Inwardly, he still schemed to recruit the powerful warrior to his side. Many others also scrambled to offer cooperation, asking for contact, forcing the Egyptian dog to tell them to line up. Akyang calmly reflected that in this world, power alone determined status. Xiaowei's group stepped in, declaring Akyang had agreed to join the Kevis Guild. They headed into the city to take part in the city defense mission. The Orochi group watched from afar. Some orcs discussed whether Great Shanyang's team might now have a level 20 warrior. Akyang stopped at the Adventurers Guild entrance, asking his teammates to wait. He thought of Sakura and hoped to meet her soon in the VS Guild. Inside, 2 orcs were harassing a fox girl, annoyed at being rejected. Akyang intervened coldly, ordering them to move aside. The 2 grew angry, thinking he was interrupting. They scolded him for rudeness, then recognized his familiar face. The fox girl realized it was Hua, but sensed he had changed. The 2 orcs mocked him for stealing their quest and ridiculed his strange armor. Akyang ignored them, asking the fox girl about their appointed teammates. She said no one had shown up, only the 2 troublemakers, making the Oros pair furious. The 2 realized she was insulting them, faces red with anger. The fox girl just sighed in boredom. They prepared to attack, hurling insults at her. Akyang stepped in, scolding them and blocking the strike. The Oros thug was knocked back, shocked by his strength. The other urged his friend on, challenging Akyang to fight outside. One threatened him, but Akyang simply asked about Sakura, then left after thanking them. The little fox worriedly urged him to stay since there was security inside. Akyang reassured her and left the guild. Outside, 2 orcs were furious, planning revenge for their humiliation. At that moment, Save loudly called his name. The 2 orcs panicked, realizing he was their captain. The little fox stood afar, shocked by his true identity. Akyang calmly said they had just tried to attack him. Save's subordinates immediately threatened the 2 orcs for touching their captain. The 2, frightened, quickly explained it was a misunderstanding. Victor curiously asked, but Akyang told him to drop it and head to the guild. He said the mission was over, so no need to call him captain, but Save only smiled. The scene shifted to the Kevis Guild's council room. Guildmaster Harris, a level 24 mage, congratulated the record and invited Akyang to assist more missions. Savai introduced Akyang as an excellent warrior, leader of the Great Goat team, worthy despite high pay. Lettermu, a level 23 catfolk swordsman, mocked letting a human command beastman, suspecting him of spying. Akyang questioned the identity of that catfolk swordsman. His teammate explained Lettermu co-founded Kevis with the guildmaster and held great power. Victor angrily said they discriminated against humans, though Javi, once human, stayed out of loyalty. Rook quickly covered Victor's mouth, afraid he might go too far. Save continued, stressing the benefits if Akyang joined, proving his trustworthiness and strategic skill. Lettermu sneered that only the weak Great Goat team needed a human commander. Save refuted, claiming her team always fought for guild honor and was no less effective. Lettermu turned to the guildmaster, saying admitting a human would divide beastmen and invite ridicule. Save asked Guildmaster Harris for his opinion. Harris hesitated but sided with Lettermoo, rejecting a Kwong. He instructed them to treat him kindly, then saw a Kwong off from Kevis. Save softly called Big Brother in regret. He only sighed, silently accepting the outcome. A Kwong said he came for Javi, and now that goal was done, he would leave. He advised Save to trust her current teammates. Everyone looked at Save with emotional eyes. Save responded, her heart overflowing with mixed feelings. A Kwong bid farewell, promised to meet again, and left to level up. Lettermoo sneered, saying no need to see off a human warrior. Savlik regretted, believing they'd just lost someone who could change the guild's fate. Lettermoo still scoffed, calling a Kwong's victory mere luck. Save silently walked away, hoping they'd soon realize their mistake. Outside, a Kwong searched for a training spot, thinking about apologizing to the girl who sewed his clothes. The Egyptian dog appeared, calling him a master, surprising him for being followed. It earnestly begged him to help its guild complete a tough commission, promising any reward he wanted. A Kwong grew interested, seeing a chance to train and profit. The Egyptian dog led the way, saying the mission was to rescue a rich merchant's kidnapped daughter and that its guildmaster awaited him.